They have wrapped up the division. They're 5 games up on the Houston Astros, locked up a playoff spot, locked up essentially what is going to be not having to play in the wild card round, and he's a big part of that. Now, the Yankees are probably going to win the East. They are tied with the Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays have some tough games, and the Yankees end the season with the White Sox over the weekend. So Yankees are probably, and I think they hold the tiebreaker over the Blue Jays as well. So I think they're going to end up winning the East. And maybe if Aaron Judge hits a couple 3 home runs this weekend and they win the East, maybe that number flips back over to Aaron Judge. But that's a huge, massive swing over the course of 10 days based on Cal Raleigh doing what he's been doing all year. I mean, Aaron Judge is still doing what he was doing, 10 days ago. It's not like Aaron Judge is hurt and not playing anymore, and all of a sudden Cal Raleigh is hitting all these home runs. The Yankees end with the White Sox. They're playing the White Sox. End with the Orioles. They're playing the White Sox right now because they took care of the White Sox last night. But they end with the Baltimore Orioles. Not like it's any better. But like Aaron Judge hits 2 home runs last night too. It's like he hits 2 home runs last night. He's at 51. But Cal Raleigh, obviously more home runs than Aaron Judge. And it's like, well, Cal Raleigh wrapped up the MVP last night because of the home runs. And it's like, well, Judge hit 2 as well. And it's just interesting sort of the way the wind blows and how the opinions change. And Buster Only this morning on A New Day saying, it's going to be, when you look at the catcher position and you look at what Cal Raleigh has done this year, you look at the home runs, you look at helping lead the Mariners to the playoffs, he said come voting time, it's going to be really hard for voters not to put their vote in for Cal Raleigh based on being a Gold Glove catcher and, hitting 60 home runs and maybe breaking the American League record, 4 games to go to be able to do that, but maybe breaking the American League record for home runs. Only Maris, Ruth, and Judge have more home runs than Cal Raleigh in the American League, in the history of the American League. I mean, if he breaks that record, it's going to be really hard for them to not vote for him with that particular record. But it's just, to me, it's fascinating because I don't know what he's done differently over the last 10 days than what he'd been doing all year, than what he was doing 10 days ago when he was minus 450 and Aaron Judge, or he was plus 450 and Aaron Judge was like minus 300.
I'll tell you. There's now a 6 in front of the home run.
Yeah, it's pretty huge.
Baseball is always a sport that values history and stats more than almost any other one. Lamar Jackson did not win the MVP last year while throwing 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions because Josh Allen was the most valuable player. I think they got it right last year in the NFL, right? I think if he changed them, that was that. Baseball has been such a historical statistic precedent where the Maris 62 is so important that
except for he's not in the Hall of Fame,
which is again different
based on that
storyline.
Based on that record alone, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But we've talked about that.
That gets brought up nearly every single year.
Yeah,
it's hard. I've gone back and forth because what Cal Raleigh has done at catcher is one of one. This is absurd. He's not the best defensive catcher in Major League Baseball, but he's good. Like, he's really good. You can find a metric and you'll say Cal Raleigh's great. You'll find one defensively and you'll say, okay, he's maybe not the best defensive catcher. Okay, I get it. I understand. But overall, he is a good defensive catcher with an elite bat right now at a position. How many catchers are doing anything even close to this right now? Perez is like a top 5 hitting catcher right now.
Salvi had 48 in a season. It was like, oh my God, a catcher that hit 48 home runs in a season. And Cal Raleigh's already put 12 more on the board with 4 games to go.
But now here's what's hard. And I am a Yankees hater. We know this. Yeah. This is me trying to be unbiased. Aaron Judge is a good fielding right fielder, but vastly less important defensive position.
Right. Especially in that sandbox of a stadium. He's got
100%.
Almost no ground to cover in right field.
But I don't like when people say he's a bad right fielder. I'm like, he was a bad center fielder. He's a good right fielder defensively. Not Mookie Betts, but he's a good right fielder defensively. So I do have to be honest there and fair. But it's very hard for me. Even with the 60 home runs even with the 125 RBIs, even with somehow 14 stolen bases
Yeah, right.
for a catcher. And then you look over and you see 328, 455, 681. OPSing over 1,100. It is very hard for me to say that's not your MVP.
Well, and what is going to be an interesting discussion these next 4 games is obviously if Cal Raleigh hits 3 more home runs over these next 4 games and ends up with 63 and has the American League record and one more than what Judge had in 2022, then and an MVP season for Judge in 2022, then I'd be like, all right, yeah, I mean, the guy's got 63 home runs as a catcher. Last year, what I find to be interesting is, Judge had all these numbers last year. I mean, he had 58 home runs and 144 RBIs last year. He's got 51 this year. Led the league in on-base percentage and slugging and OPS. Bobby Witt won the batting crown. Gold Glove shortstop. Had all of these other things besides the 58 home runs, did Bobby Witt. And the argument was, okay, premium position, versus
Was Judge in center field last year,
but
I think.
that was the argument from
Yeah.
the Yankees, was like, well, Judge is playing center field, so it's part of a premium position, and he's got these home runs. And now this year, Cal Raleigh has more home runs and plays a more premium position at catcher than Judge in right field. But I find the argument for Aaron Judge is, well, it's not all about home runs. Like, hold up. Last year, you equated center field and shortstop, somebody who wasn't playing a great center field, to a Gold Glove shortstop, but saying, these home runs, like, he's hitting home runs and Bobby isn't doing that. Well, okay, but Bobby's got all these other things and he won the batting crown. But Judge is on base and slugging. Okay, granted, absolutely, yeah. Walking more, granted. He's a
lot more.
Yeah, right, for sure. But it was like home runs, and he also plays center field. And this year, it's like, what does it matter if he plays catcher, and it's not just about home runs? Like, hold up. Because if it's the same argument from a year ago, that premium position was equated, even though it was a Gold Glove versus a generic one at that particular position, and home runs were the deciding factor, then that would be the argument for why Cal Raleigh would be an MVP over Aaron Judge, taking that same argument of Aaron Judge over Bobby Witt last year, and now it doesn't work in Aaron Judge's favor because he's not a center fielder anymore. Now he's a right fielder, and Cal Raleigh's a Gold Glove catcher. Like, I like a Gold Glove catcher hitting 60 and getting the Mariners to the playoffs. I mean, look, both of them are deserving, and that's what's going to suck, is that one of them will not win an MVP in a year where the other might have been the runaway MVP compared to other players. Somebody's not going to, and it's the same thing last year, like Lamar and Josh Allen.
Yes.
In a year that one of those could have been a runaway MVP in a different year, but they have those crazy years, the same one, and somebody has to win it.
They've done co-MVPs before.
They have?
It was Peyton Manning and Steve McNair in 2003. That was the most recent.
Yeah. And then we had a running back, quarterback, co-MVP like 10 years before that.
Yeah, it was in like 90-something.
And so, like, they've had that in the NFL, but I just, maybe it's just public opinion swaying one way or another. Maybe there's been so much money being placed on Cal Raleigh that the value has moved that much. I think it's going to be an incredibly close race. And whoever wins, I don't know that there's some crazy argument and, like, this is a robbery.
Yeah.
It's an absolute robbery. Like, I think, Nick Bosa stole Chris Jones Defensive Player of the Year, quite frankly.
Sure.
And it was a bit based on one stat. It was that he had, 4 more sacks than Chris Jones did as a defensive end compared to a 3-technique defensive tackle. And all of the other things that Chris Jones does, like, no, he had 4 more sacks. So it's like, okay, so that counting metric, which is absurd. The amount of double teams that Chris Jones faced, Chris Jones, to guarantee the Hall of Fame status, that Defensive Player of the Year would have done that. I still think he's a Hall of Famer, but getting that year would have done that.
Yeah.
What sucks for Cal Raleigh and maybe Bobby Witt is Bobby Witt's amazing year last year happens with Aaron Judge having an amazing year. Cal Raleigh's amazing year happens with Aaron Judge again having an amazing year. And who knows who's going to wrap up the MVP this year. But I don't know that just because the line is now minus 200 for Cal Raleigh doesn't mean a couple of days from now it can't be, plus 300 for Cal Raleigh again. Because if Judge goes out there and hits like 3 home runs, hits 2 home runs tomorrow night, 2 home runs on Saturday, and they clinch the division over the Blue Jays, and Raleigh, doesn't hit any more home runs, and Aaron Judge ends up with like 60 to 56 home runs, then it's like, okay, so what's the argument now?
I do think the 6 in front of the home run
100%.
made again, just baseball and how much of a precedence and importance they put on the historical numbers. 60 home runs is absurd. And now 62 is the mark. 62, or I think even if it gets to 62 in ties.
Yeah.
I think that still gives Cal such a boost. If he gets with 61, I don't think it makes a difference. I think 62 is a big boost. 63 is a slightly even bigger boost.
Yeah.
There's nothing that Aaron Judge, there's no number that you're looking at that's really going to change your view on Judge this year.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
What, 8 stolen bases? He gets a 20 stolen base seat. I don't.
He does have. Raleigh also has 4 more stolen bases than Aaron
2 more
Judge this year. Was it 2?
Judge has 12. Raleigh
Judge
has 14.
12. I thought he had 10. Okay. He's got 12. You know what? He had 10 last year, I think.
Yeah.
I think he had 10 last year.
He did have 10 last year.
In the argument of Bobby versus Judge, when Bobby had he had 30-something, 31, I think, because he had a 30-30 season last year, did Bobby. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. 913-912-4810. We'll hear from John Harbaugh. And the Chiefs went into last week against the Giants, against one of the worst run defenses in the NFL, and decided that they were going to pass it 17 of the first 21 plays. They came out the second half in those 2 drives that were more effective and scored touchdowns. They decided to hand it off a few more times. They face off against a team that got gashed in the run. And that team might be even more debilitated on that defensive line than what they were on Monday night. We hear from John Harbaugh. He gives an update and what could mean a change of plans, change of game plan, or just hard-headed stubbornness from Andy Reid. We'll talk about that next.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
The weather is starting to change. The leaves on the ground. That means winter is right around the corner. That means it can be some storms, snowstorms, ice. Is your roof ready for the weather ahead of us? Do you know? If you don't, then Pyramid Roofing is a spot for you where you can go and have them come out and give you a free roof inspection. Peace of mind is free. You want the peace of mind of knowing what your roof is like and if it's going to hold up for the winter months? It's free. Free roof inspections from Pyramid Roofing. Check them out, pyramidroofingkc.com. Is your roof over 15 years old? Well, then you need to get it checked. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll talk with Matt Lane coming up at 11 o'clock. KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. We'll hear from Dave Tobe, Matt Nagy, Steve Spagnuolo, Chris Jones. Really interested in hearing from Dave Tobe, because if this is going to be a closer game, and we've seen some people picking the Chiefs to win close, the Ravens to win close. Cynthia Freeland yesterday said she has the Chiefs as a slight winner, but if Matabuke and Van Noy both play, the edge then flips to the Ravens. We know that Matabuke is now out for Sunday and maybe a while. We don't know. It's scary what's going on with him. But if it's going to be a closer game and like a field goal game, Harrison Butker needs to be on his game.
Yeah.
Because if they win, if they win 24-21, that means Butker has to make 4 kicks. 3 extra points and a field goal. He has to make 4 of them. You can't be missing points in this game, man, and then chasing points like the Chiefs were doing. Let's hear from John Harbaugh. This was yesterday's press conference that he had. He was asked, the question to John Harbaugh here is, are you concerned about the long-term health of Nnamdi Matabuke?
I would say I am concerned about it, but I'm not really in a position to comment on it right now. I haven't been given the okay to comment on it at this point. So he's not going to play this week, I can tell you that. And we're going to have to see going forward when they know what they need to know.
John, we noticed there were 2 defensive linemen added to the practice squad today. Are you concerned with the other guys that missed today might be not available, Travis Jones or Broderick Washington? Anything's possible. I'm not per se, but they're nursing some things. We're only less than 48 hours out from the end of the game, so I have a good feeling about those guys, but we'll have to wait and see.
So for Ravens fans, that's good news to hear with Broderick Washington and Travis Jones, that he said, I have a good feeling about those guys. But it's scary when he was asked, are you concerned about the long-term health for Nnamdi Matabuke? And he said, I would say I'm concerned, but I'm not at liberty yet to talk about what's going on.
Yeah, that's
scary, man, because he played the whole game against the Browns. And it wasn't until after the game that his neck started swelling, and they're trying to figure out what's going on right now. And as he could say, I can tell you he's definitely not playing this week, which would mean like he's definitely not playing this week. So when's he going to play again? And to say, I mean, it's one thing to go, like, are you concerned long-term for Matabuke's health? To go, they still don't know yet. We know he's not playing this week, but I don't know that I'm, concerned from that standpoint. We want to get it figured out what's going on and what's best for him. I'm not at liberty yet to talk about what's going on, but, they're going to find out what's going on. He's not going to play this week. We know that. And then we're just going to have to see how it goes. I think that's how Andy Reid would answer it.
Yes.
But Harbaugh was pretty candid there when he said, yeah, I would say I'm concerned. For the long-term health of Matabuke, that's scary as hell, man. Like, that's one of the best defensive players in the league, and it is now today, Thursday. They played Sunday, so we're looking at 11 days later, and they're still trying to figure out what's going on with his neck.
Yeah,
And he's got the best doctors. You're paying a lot of money for the Ravens. It's a lot invested in that man. He got a big contract.
You don't mess with the neck. That is. Yeah, I don't know. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Football unrelated. It's
yes,
horrible. Yeah.
Absolutely. Kyle Van Noy did not practice yesterday. I don't expect him to play since they said it was a multi-week injury after the Browns game. The multi-week injury would include the Lions and then another game, which is the Chiefs. He did not practice yesterday. What to keep an eye on, though, as the question to Harbaugh there was, you brought up guys from the practice squad because Broderick Washington did not practice yesterday and Travis Jones did not practice yesterday. The difference between those two specifically is that Broderick Washington finished the game on Monday night. He did not practice with an ankle. Travis Jones, he hurt his knee in the game, came back for 2 plays, and then left the game again. So he left early, tried to give it a go, and left the game again. On a short week, he's not practicing, and it's a knee injury. That's their entire starting defensive line. Van Noy, Matabuke, Broderick Washington, Travis Jones. None of them practiced. They had 6 defensive linemen practicing yesterday. 4 of them were practice squad players for the Ravens.
So you're saying the Chiefs should run the football,
I'm
but
saying the
instead
Chiefs are going to throw it 55 times
Yes.
on Sunday against the Ravens. But that's why, like, Matabuke's out. I don't think Van Noy is playing. If Broderick Washington or Travis Jones misses, it's 3 of their 4 starting defensive linemen, and they'll have, 3 practice squad players active on Sunday at defensive line with a really good secondary? I mean, you would be a fool to go into that game and say RPOs and shotgun and lots of passes. Like, challenge them immediately. What are you going to do?
Call up Carson Steele.
Call up Clyde Steele. I don't get. Bring back Anthony Sherman. Like, play Carson Steele at fullback. Because also,
no, I seriously, I formation. Like, this seems like
2 tight end. You know,
this seems like a game. I know they still have like Roquan Smith and Owe, and they have some linebackers, but
right, for sure. But if they're missing their entire starting defensive line, and they already, because Jones left the game, Van Noy wasn't playing, and Matabuke was out, the only player in there that was part of their starting defensive line was Broderick Washington. They were getting destroyed in the run game. Great running offensive line in the Detroit Tigers. Power game right in your face. You got a power runner.
And they have 2 guys in Jahmyr Gibbs.
And you got Jahmyr Gibbs that's
Montgomery.
creating. So there is something to be said for that, certainly, that it's, I as I said yesterday, and I'll continue to say, if the Lions gave out the recipe to defeat the Ravens, the Chiefs don't have the ingredients to complete that same recipe. The Chiefs are doing the thing at home where you don't have something and you're going, what's a substitute for this? And you're trying to create it with different ingredients for a substitute with whatever ingredient you needed for that recipe. That's what they're doing. I don't want to run to the store. Do I have something here that I can create a substitute for this? I don't know.
I can offer you a yogurt that expired 3 days ago.
Can I use Greek yogurt for sour cream? Let's try it. I don't know. Probably can. I don't know. I'm not a chef. I didn't go to cooking school. You know what I mean? But, like, you know, I use guaranteed foods. Like, there you go. I'd use that, and I'm good. I'm a freaking chef with that. They don't have the same ingredients that the Lions had, but the Ravens have less of a wall and a deterrent to stop the run than maybe any team they could face the rest of the way. If they've got 3 practice squad players playing at defensive line, like, you've got a real opportunity here. And I think this could be one of those tests to see how much does or is Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, the entire coaching staff offensively willing to lean in to a clear advantage that they could have in this game, to see, is this an advantage, rather than we're going to try to play off this advantage and throw the ball, knowing we could always come back to run it. You know, because they were successful running it against the Giants. They just didn't do it in the first half. They did it in the second
game
half.
all over again.
100%. Second half against the Bengals in the AFC Championship game, still one of the most frustrating things I've watched. Just hand the freaking ball off. McKinnon was averaging like 7 yards per carry, and they ended up passing it 30 times in the second half.
And again, maybe Brashard Smith gets a smattering extra of carries, and I loved what they did in the second half with him as far as putting him in motion, and even with Nico Remigio earlier on. We have seen creativity in the run game because we saw it the second half against the Giants. That was some of the more creative run stylistically changes that we've seen from this team in a while.
I love that counter when everybody ran right and they handed it off left. And it was like they fooled everybody.
Incredible. And the thing is we're freaking out. That was a 10-yard gain.
Yeah, that was 10 yards.
I mean, you see teams,
and it was 10 yards before contact.
How
he
many
got exactly he got exactly what was blocked for him.
I mean, how many 10 yards did Cam Scadaboo or like you look around the NFL and you just pull up, Bucky Irving and all these. The point remains, we know what the Chiefs have. We know they're not a good team when they run the football, or at least they don't have the best run game in the NFL. Bottom 5. But against this team, that bottom 5 turns to 5 yards a carry, or at least it should. You should be able to control this on the ground. You are still NFL players. You have an offensive line that has a lot of money and is, quite frankly, Kingsley's a good run blocker. Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey are good run blockers.
And Jawan Taylor's terrible.
Correct, but
run between the tackles.
And maybe that means Kareem Hunt. Maybe you just say, all right.
I'm totally fine with that.
Maybe it's Kareem, and instead of
3
to 4 yards a carry, it's 4 to 5.
Hot hand. I'm good with that too. You give it to Kareem, you give it to Pacheco, and then the coaches are smart enough to see who's reading the holes correctly. Then you go with that guy. It's like, all right, well, Kareem's the one that's figuring these things out. So
And
we're going
we've
to stay with
seen that,
Kareem
by
Hunt.
the way.
Yeah.
We've seen the Chiefs go from, all right, even this year, was it the Chargers? Whatever it was, they saw Pacheco. It may have been actually when he ran to the back of Kingsley. And I don't know if he got a snap. Well, I don't know if he got a snap after that because I believe they went to Kareem.
Well, I think we saw that on Sunday night because in that game, Pacheco was better than Kareem Hunt. Kareem was not getting much more than 2 or 3 yards. Pacheco was picking up 4 or 5 yards when he was running the football. And look what happened. They started the first 2 drives with Kareem Hunt. The first 2 drives is Kareem Hunt running the football, not Pacheco.
Yeah, good call.
What was the second half? Pacheco.
And we've sometimes seen the opposite. So
yeah,
they're not afraid to go to, and it's funny saying hot hand, the room temperature hand.
The non-cold hand.
Yeah, the non-freezer hand. It's just a refrigerator this time. We're going with the refrigerator, not the freezer. Not the deep freeze. So, and maybe we will see more Brashard Smith. He got more involved last game against the Giants, right? That's a good sign. I'm not saying he's going to get 10 carries, but can he get 5? Can he get 4? Can he double it? Can he go from 1 to 2, from 2 to 4, from 4 to 8, in weeks going forward? I would like to see it. Again, part of it is the unknown. Brashard Smith might not be anything. He might be the 7th rounder that most 7th rounders are.
Right.
But we don't know. And I'll admit it. I'm intrigued by the potential. I'm intrigued by the athleticism and the speed that is lacking in this group. I'm intrigued by what would he have done on that counter. We know Pacheco got 10. And this is not a knock on Pacheco on that run. But what would have Brashard Smith got on that run?
WWBSD. What would Brashard Smith do? That's the I wear that bracelet.
That bracelet.
Yeah. Also, if you're looking at running the ball, how about this? Since we talk about
do not Google that, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Wait, what was that? What did he say?
WWBSD. What would Brashard Smith do?
What did you Google?
So Michael,
Darcy's laughing very hard back there.
Darcy, what was it? Come on, let the audience know.
I Googled WWBSD.
Yeah, what came up?
Questionable things.
Okay.
Like what?
Like passing the ball on 3rd down and 1?
I don't even know how to describe it. I don't even know if I can talk about it on the air.
Let me see. Let me go ahead and just take a
I'm
look.
gonna go that way.
Just go.
Yeah, just peek through the glass. Just right through the. You're through the looking glass.
Oh wow! Wow.
Why don't you describe it there, Sterling?
We found a. All right, so when a mommy and a daddy love each other,
is there a stork involved?
Well, no, there's no kids.
No stork.
And
okay.
and maybe if a mommy and daddy actually don't like each other, it could be that too.
Oh God, no, thank you.
What?
Anyway, this reminds me a little bit.
Don't look it up.
No, this reminds me a little bit
do.
when like we were talking about Eddie Kinnison, and Eddie Kinnison, we had him on the air during 2020 because we were doing the Where Are They Now series when there were no sports being played during COVID. So we had just former players everywhere, and so we had Eddie Kinnison on, and we talked about the Broncos game when he was, released by the Broncos, brought in by the Chiefs, and it was the whole thing with he couldn't stand the Broncos because there was something going on health-wise with his family, and they weren't letting him, like, go do that. And so he said, I'm going to put something on their ass in that game. And Corey Anderson was looking up the quote, and he said, unfortunately, at Google, if I say put something on their ass, the only thing comes up are people that put something in.
Oh, yeah, this was...
So which is great. So don't look up the Eddie Kinnison Denver unless you specifically say Eddie Kinnison, Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, put something on, quotes on.
Quotes on. This was talking about in too.
That's great. That's great. I'm hoping that Jalen Moore is in the game because here's where I'll go with this. I'm going to give you some numbers and you tell me what these numbers are. All right? 58, 61, 42, 39, 42, 57, 41. That's one set of numbers. The next set of numbers, 62, 68, 70, 70.1.
Well, they sound...
It's tough. It's just
It
so
sounds
generic.
like PFF numbers.
You're right.
And I would
You're on the right
assume
track.
the first one is Jawan Taylor and the second one is Jalen Moore when he started in San Fran.
So you are definitely on the right track. But what are those numbers specifically?
I'd assume pass protection numbers or pass block numbers.
No. Run blocking numbers.
Oh, wow.
Because Jawan Taylor is ass at run blocking.
I should have known that.
Yeah, Jawan Taylor, here are Jawan Taylor's numbers in run blocking. 58, 61, 43, 40, 43, 57, 42. Jalen Moore, 62, 68, 70, 70.1 as a run blocker. Jalen Moore.
Good call.
So maybe if your strategy is we are going to lean more into the run game, maybe don't have your worst run blocker at right tackle that also commits penalties. Maybe have somebody that's a much better run blocker at right tackle in Jalen Moore.
It is interesting that Jawan Taylor's not a great run blocker at his size. That does surprise.
6'5", 330, like he.
It surprises me a little bit in that, and he is fairly athletic. You think he could get up to the next level, but
But
yeah,
also,
you're right.
are you allowing him to get up to the next level, or is everything RPOs?
That's true too.
Like
It could, again, it's always a multifaceted situation where he's the whipping boy right now. We're ripping on him because
Because
you see the penalties, he hasn't been good, but also is it the offense that's not allowed him to be great with the RPOs, hasn't made him struggle? It's multifaceted. Point remains, though, you're correct. I do think that
if they're going to lean into the
Jalen
run,
Moore would make a lot of sense in this particular game. Go with your best run block offense, and again,
and it's not like Jalen Moore is Kingsley at pass blocking at tackle. He played left tackle. You signed him to be your left tackle before you drafted Josh Simmons. So you aren't bringing somebody in that, well, he can run block, but if we call a pass play, it's going to be Kingsley against the Bengals. If you think it's going to be Kingsley against the Bengals, then you wasted your money on Jalen Moore. So I don't think that's the case. So you're getting somebody who is minimum serviceable at right tackle blocking against a team that is not going to have a premier pass rusher. There. But, again, Mike Green is terrible. Okay?
I forgot about that.
He was awful in that game. Go back. He was.
I forgot they drafted Mike Green.
Yeah, I mean, they did. And I'll say that, he was a guy that I knew the Chiefs would not draft simply because of the size of Mike Green, but he was one of those pre-draft darlings, and he slipped in the draft because of the off-the-field issues.
Sure.
Maybe some other things, too. I don't know. But I know this. Brock Wright is one of the best blocking tight ends in the league for the Lions. He's the number 2 tight end behind Sam Laporta. And he's an awesome blocking tight end because, that's what the Lions would invest in. But I mentioned this yesterday with Cynthia. Dude, watch the second half of that game on Monday night. Because I was watching Mike Green. I'm like, oh, God, they got Mike Green, too. The Ravens, they got Owe. They got
So
Van
that's
Noy.
him basically filling in for Van Noy's Mike Green.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Mike Green for Van Noy. They changed up their strategy on Mike Green in the second half. They stopped using Sewell or Decker on Mike Green, and they put Brock Wright on him. They allowed their tackles to go to the next level, and they used their blocking tight end to block Mike Green. And go watch what happened. He wasn't getting pressure or any movement. Brock Wright was taking care of business. One of the best blocking tight ends in the league. So
Sure,
I
yeah.
acknowledge that. But he ain't a tackle. Like, that's what Mike Green looks like. He is completely and totally overmatched and not ready to play. And so if he's the one filling in for Van Noy, then you've got an advantage there. So my point being is if you feel Jalen or Jawan Taylor is a better pass blocker than Jalen Moore, you aren't going up against Khalil Mack or Max Crosby on Sunday.
Sure.
You're going up against a guy who is very overmatched in the game in Mike Green, at least the extended playing time he had to have on Monday night against a really good offensive line and a good pass blocking tight end. But again, they used their tight end on him to block him because they felt like they were wasting their tackles to block him.
Yeah.
That's how bad he was in that game. So
it's a good call.
It's a clear advantage there for the Chiefs. Like, take advantage of that thing, man. Lean into it this week. And if they don't, then there's a real element of just being stubborn or hard-headed of this is what we do and it doesn't matter what they do. Like, if you're a genius offensive guy and a play caller and a schemer and a game planner, aren't you there to take advantage of their weakness? So do it. The first couple of drives, we were wondering what they would look like against the Giants. And again, they passed the ball 17 of 21 times. And they ended up with a couple of field goals. Second half, they started running the ball. They end up with a couple touchdowns. Like, it's okay just to simply say, this is an advantage. Let's do that. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. There was a comparison that I saw last night with the Ravens and another professional team. And I think Sterling's going to love this because it's right up his alley.
Ooh.
And I really want to hear Sterling's thoughts on the Ravens' comparison to this professional team in a different sport. We'll do that next. taken the strategy that so many teams took against the Chiefs, limiting the other team's possessions. Limit Lamar's possessions. Limit the possessions for the Ravens. And if you can do that while establishing and having a successful run game. So I said when we went to break, there was a comparison I saw last night that somebody brought up and said, the Ravens are just this team. And it's a different league franchise. And I thought, I got to bring this up with Sterling. Somebody tweeted out last night and said, are we sure the Ravens aren't just the 76ers? Like every year, one of the teams that's going to, and then failing in the postseason. It's like, they had this happen and just unfortunate here. And then every year at the beginning of the season, they're one of the favorites to win the East. The Ravens are one of the favorites to win the AFC. They look good at times, and then come time to actually do something, they don't get it done. I'm like, I got to ask Sterling if the Ravens are just simply the 76ers.
Ravens have had more success. They've had more success, even just regular season as well. Lamar and Embiid are interesting because when healthy, they're both one of the best, but you've also seen injuries. Although right now it might be Joe Burrow. It might be the Bengals.
Yeah.
Could be Joe Burrow, and with the amount of injuries Joe Burrow sustained, it might be Embiid.
Burrow and Embiid.
But yeah.
Burrow.
It's interesting. I don't know. I think the Ravens are, because the Ravens are a lot better than the Sixers have been. The Sixers have, anyone that goes to the Sixers becomes ass. Like James Harden, buns there. Tobias Harris, horrible there. Paul George, horrible there. Al Horford, horrible there, and then went back to Boston and became Al Horford again. So I don't know. The Sixers are just, that's a good call. I will say at least the Sixers are bringing back the jerseys, the 01 black Iverson jerseys, the iconic ones. So they have that going for this year, which is nice. But yeah, I think the Ravens
made the AFC championship game, and the 76ers were, you could have made a case that before last year, that the Bills were more the 76ers, because the 76ers kept losing in the semis and the Bills kept losing in the divisional round every year, not even making the championship game. Ravens have made the championship game 2 years ago, where the 76ers don't. They lose in the semis.
They're almost the Chargers.
It's
almost more Chargers-esque, where it's like a lot of hype, but the insane amount of injuries. They never live up to it.
I wanted to bring that up with you because you're very familiar with the 76ers, and obviously, we see a lot of Ravens with being one of the teams that competes with the Chiefs. I'm like, I thought that was interesting, that just a team that every year there's some hype, there's excitement, and then come playoff time, they just don't get it done, and they end up almost historically a round short of where they should have gone that year.
Oh, always.
And so it feels like the Ravens and 76ers.
In that regard. I think the Ravens...
Because the Ravens should have been in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and the Chiefs went to Baltimore and won the game.
I think the Ravens are a lot more talented overall. Like, I just don't... The Sixers at least have this year, Tyrese Maxey and McCain, and they got some guys, but it ain't the Ravens. I think the Ravens, top to bottom, are one of... Again, I don't know what it is. There is something to the clutch factor and the moment not being too big, because... I got into an argument yesterday with some guys about, they're like, well, how can you say that, Patrick's better than Lamar? If you take out the rings, how is Patrick better than Lamar? And I go, well, you keep saying Baltimore's the better team than the Chiefs, right? And they go, yes.
Okay. Then.
Okay. But how come they keep losing in the playoffs to the Chiefs? If the Chiefs are a worse team, then what's that say about Lamar versus Patrick? What's that say?
Yeah. Says a lot.
Says a lot.
Yep.
You keep saying he's got the better team and he loses. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me then he's clearly not as good as the guy who plays with, in his words, a lesser team. You're saying, Patrick, you're making my point for me.
What Sterling said to those guys was,
kick rocks, pound sand.
If you say Santiago wasn't to be touched and your orders are always followed, then why do you need to transfer him? Why the two orders? Thursday edition of The Zone. We'll play some sports or leisure coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Later on this hour, we'll hear from the Kansas City Chiefs, Dave Toub, Matt Nagy, Steve Spagnuolo. Chris Jones will be at the podium. Right now, let's talk some Chiefs football. KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast, Kent Swanson. I'm joking, Matt. I'm just joking. Matt Lane is our guest here in The Zone. Matt, what's up, brother?
Oh, listen, I would love to be called in anytime I get a Crash Kent day to come on. So anytime you guys want me on there just to mess with him, please let me do that. That would be so much fun. But besides that,
100%.
I'm doing good.
Yes.
We won this past weekend. It's first time in like 8 months, so it's a good week.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen a Chiefs victory. It's been since that Buffalo Bills AFC Championship game. But let me start with this, Matt. The first half obviously was pretty ugly, but were you encouraged with what you saw in the second half against the Giants offensively?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's the biggest thing coming out of the game. It wasn't just the Chiefs won. It's just in the second half, especially offensively, because the defense played pretty well most of the game, you got some stuff on offense to at least make you excited. I don't know, how sustainable the way they were playing was. I don't know how to work against better secondaries, but they at least gave you the illusion that they're figuring some stuff out on the offensive side of the ball, some stuff to get excited about both schematically and from the personnel. And then you also know that here soon you are getting Rashee Rice back. Sounds like Xavier Worthy's going to try to go this week. So it's definitely a more optimistic week based on what the Chiefs did, not just winning, but how they played, plus the guys that are getting closer to returning coming up.
Would you have why do you think if you had to point to one or two or three things, what do you think the difference was from first half to second half as to why it looked a lot more crisp and clean in the second half compared to what it was, the first half?
So I think the most simplistic thing is I think the offensive line settled down a little bit in the second half. The first half, I just thought they looked a little uncomfortable. Not bad, just they looked uncomfortable with how the looks that they were getting from the Giants' defensive front, how those edge rushers were playing them. And you really saw, I thought, Simmons and Taylor just, and again, not bad, just they were getting caught on their heels a lot from some of the rushes. And I think that got better in the second half. But structurally, the more we expect the offensive line to be at least okay to pretty good this year. And so I think that was expected. The less expected thing that really sticks out to me was the offense went away from trying to create everything for yards after the catch. All the short passes were no longer at the line of scrimmage. They were throwing the ball 5 to 7 yards downfield instead of 0 to 3. And so it was a more traditional quick game, and I think that's better suited to the weapons the Chiefs have right now. It's probably better suited to attack modern defenses that way because everybody's really good at coming downhill from these kind of coverage shells they play now. So you're not getting a ton of yards after catch opportunities, and when you don't have the best athletes available, it gets really hard to turn a flat route at the line of scrimmage into more than 2 or 3 yards. So I do think moving kind of like that depth of the target, just even to 5-6 yards down the field, made it look a little bit more crisp, and they were able to continue to move the chains that way.
Are the Chiefs missing opportunities because they're not attacking some of those intermediate areas? It feels like it's, short passes or deep to Tyquan Thornton, and they are one of the teams that have attempted the fewest passes in that intermediate area. It feels like that's where they should be eating a lot more with Kelsey, and maybe is that a result of Rice and Xavier Worthy, watching the games instead of playing the games?
Theoretically, yeah, I think that they aren't attacking them as much as they should or could, but I do think a big part of that, like you just said, is the lack of Rice and Worthy. And now Worthy in particular has, I think, been better on outbreaking stuff. So I don't know if he's going to play a huge role like in the intermediate over the middle of the field area, but some of those deeper comebacks or out routes, that's something that he did do pretty well and has looked good at. Rashee Rice obviously does a lot of good work over the middle of the field. So those two guys in particular, I think, immediately help. Those are probably your best two receivers in the 10 to 20-yard range, and you don't have either one of them.
Yeah.
Because besides that, I mean, if you're looking at the personnel the Chiefs have right now, Hollywood Brown doesn't look like he has the same juice he used to, so it's kind of hard for him, I think, to get open in those spots. Juju Smith-Schuster's not really what his game's geared towards. Tyquan Thornton, as impressive as he's been very much deep or really short, and I think that's always going to be his game when you have somebody that's kind of built like he is at the speed. So I'm hoping that's a more of a personnel-driven thing and not their plan, although it's hard to tell because Andy Reid's older West Coast offense that he used back in Philly was kind of the same way. A lot of quick stuff, a lot of deep stuff, not a whole lot in between. So you would really like to see the Chiefs get back to that like they did a few years back.
Did you think that in that first half against the Giants, or maybe just the overall game plan, that they would have run the ball more often than they did to start that game against the Giants with that advantage? Or is that to be expected with Andy Reid that, they think we're going to run the ball, and so we're going to pass the ball, and our running the ball is going to be RPOs, which is going to leave it up to Patrick Mahomes to hand it off or throw the ball, and we know what he likes to do in those RPOs is to throw the ball. Would you have expected them to lean a little bit more into the specific run game against a porous run defense?
I think so. I mean, I would have assumed that they would have tried a little bit earlier, but yeah, to start the game, they came out right away and were throwing, and I'm sure some of it was RPO looks, but a lot of it seemed like they're the pre-snap RPOs where it's essentially you decide based on the leverage of your routes, not anything else, and so those really do become just typical pass plays if you give it up to chance. So yeah, I'm a little surprised, but then at the same time, I go and watch the Chiefs run game, and if you're going to tell me that, they're going to have success in this play, it's either going to be a slant to Juju Smith-Schuster or it's going to be an inside zone by Isaiah Pacheco, yeah, I probably think I'm going to take my chances on the slant to Juju Smith-Schuster. Understandably, you got to mix it up. You got to have a better run-pass balance than they have. I think it'll go a long way in helping the passing game if the Chiefs can ever figure out how to make that work. But I think once you get out there and you're on the field, it makes the most sense to do what your team's probably better at. And right now the Chiefs are just so bad running the ball, even though they did find success in the second half, but they've been so bad at running the ball lately, it's kind of hard to want to really dive into that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the matchups this weekend against the Ravens, but that point specifically, since we're talking about the run game, like I feel like there's a real opportunity for the Kansas City Chiefs in running the football against the Ravens, with Matabuke already being ruled out. Van Noy I don't expect to play because they said, last week that was a multiple-week injury. Broderick Washington didn't practice yesterday with an ankle injury, which I think John Harbaugh was a little more confident that he's going to play. We'll see about Travis Jones because Travis Jones didn't practice yesterday either. And unlike Broderick Washington, who played the whole game, Travis Jones left the game early against the Lions with a knee injury, came back for 2 plays, and then left the game again. So it was almost like, let me try it, and nope, it's not working. And it's a short week. So if they don't have Matabuke, Van Noy, and Travis Jones, 3 of their 4 starting defensive linemen, and they've got practice squad players, called up and active on Sunday, I feel like it'd almost be a derelict of duty not to say, we're going to go more into a power game. And if they can stop it, then we'll go back to what we feel like we do best. But if they can't stop it, then that's just added on to something we can do against this Ravens team. And then we can play off the fact that we're able to successfully run the football.
Absolutely. I'm right there on the same page. This Ravens defense has been awful versus the run this year, and that was even before all the injuries took place. Right now, they did play the Detroit Lions and the Buffalo Bills, 2 teams that are very good at running the football, very good with their gap run stuff, and that's not something the Chiefs are particularly good at or do often. But even the Cleveland Browns had a successful rushing game against them. So the Chiefs should lean into the run game. I think we saw against the Giants even in that second half, they had some good plays where they got under center, and they were running from under center with Pacheco. That's probably where he runs the best from. I think that's what they should lean on more. I think everybody now is talking about that for the past couple of weeks, is the Chiefs just refuse to get under center and base the run game out of it. So hopefully we see more stuff like that. We have seen in some big matchups, even in the regular season in the past, when the Chiefs need a win, Andy has went ahead and leaned on the run game. I think we can go all the way back to that Bills game where Claudio Delaire went off a few years back, where they really did lean on the run game for that because the Bills were giving them the look, and they did something a little out of the ordinary for them. So there's a sliver of hope that it's there. The problem is, and this is always going to be the thing with Andy Reid, you go into a series and you run, you call a run play on first and second down, you only pick up 3 yards. Total, how often is he, or how likely is he to do that again? And unfortunately, the Chiefs seem to do that too often, where they get stuck in a 3rd and long. And right now, the Chiefs are pretty middle of the pack in 3rd down conversion rate, so you don't want to put them in those situations very often.
Do you think maybe you go more, would you like to see go more of a power game or just non-RPO game that, a lot of their running game is based on the RPO, that it's just, under center or even in shotgun, whatever, let the offensive lineman fire off and then get to the second level if you can. Get past the defensive line and get to the second level and not have to worry about, well, I can only go a couple of yards forward because he might be passing the ball here.
This is the trickiest part for me because I absolutely would love for them to be a little bit less finesse at their run game, but I think their tight ends are really struggling to block this year, and it's kind of hard to have a downhill power run game when your tight ends can't block particularly well. And let's call a spade a spade. Josh Simmons is looking very good this year, and Jawan Taylor, I know he has his ups and downs, but both those guys are more pass protectors than physically dominant run blockers. So the Chiefs are a little soft on their edges when they try to do a power run game, and I do think that shows up. So when they run power, they don't always get the best down blocks coming from their tackles. When they try to get outside of it, their tight ends don't always create the most space for Trey Smith pulling around to get up into the gap. So they do run into issues when they try to have a power run game. So I think I would stick to the zone stuff, but I would get away from the RPOs. Go under center and run just a pure outside zone or wide zone, pure mid zone. Just stick to the zone blocking stuff. This way you can hide your tight ends a little bit better, but we don't have to pair everything to an RPO. We don't have to have every play. Doesn't have to have a tight end working a split action across the backfield or running into the flat, hoping you drag a defender out with them. Let them go block safeties or linebackers on the second level. So, more of a dedicated run game. I just don't know if they are well equipped this year to really lean on the power stuff because of some of the limitations they have as run blockers on the edges.
I got it. I got the idea. Blake Bell's still in town. Just go sign him and have him play this weekend as your Brock Wright, essentially, for the Detroit Lions. Your second tight end that's a stud blocker. You know what, Blake? You're here.
Absolutely.
Just show up on Sunday. We're going to get you out there. We're going to get a jersey for you. Be the 12th man like A&M, just grabbing somebody from the stands. It'll be Blake Bell. Let's do it, man.
No, I'm fully down. I'm long supporter of Blake Bell for this exact reason, and I'm kind of surprised. I think Robert Tonyan has showed flashes of being able to block better than Noah Gray or Travis Kelce this year, but I wouldn't say he is blocking at the same rate that Blake Bell did, during his last little stretch here in KC. And it's not like Blake Bell's going to make or break this offense, but 10 plays of him on the field as a run blocker is significantly better. And this is no offense to the player because Noah Gray's a better tight end, but it's a lot different than having Noah Gray trying to block for those 10 plays. And so I do think they are missing a player of that caliber, of that play type on their team right now.
Matt Lane is our guest, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Curtis asked this question on Twitter yesterday, so I thought it was interesting. I wanted to ask you. And the question was, what's the biggest issue for the running game? Not, hey, all of the above, these are issues, but what's the biggest issue? And the choices were running back talent, game plan / play calling, or offensive line run blocking, inability or whatever you want to call it. What would be to you, because all of them you can point to and say there's a mixture of everything and less RPOs, and Pacheco seeing the hole a little bit better. Kareem Hunt, maybe if he had more explosion. Jawan Taylor has been really bad at run blocking this year, and Josh Simmons is still developing in that area. So there's a lot of it that goes into it. But what would you point to and say, I feel like this is the biggest issue right now, and at least fixing that could alleviate some of the pressure?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I can make an argument for all of them. I'm going to cheat a little bit and say, if you could drop in an elite running back, I think you would get the quickest return on investment, right? I don't know if the Chiefs' run game would go too great if you just pulling a name out of it. Jonathan Taylor, put him on the team. I think the running game gets better immediately just by adding a more talented running back. I don't know if it becomes really good, but it becomes better than what it currently is. And I think that would be the easiest. Drop him in, plug him in. Here's a better player back there who has better vision, can actually break some tackles. You would see immediate results. I think longer term, though, the thing that would make the biggest adjustment would be the game planning / play calling. It's not 2020 anymore. It's not 2021. We got to get away from everything being an RPO attached to it, right? Not every single run has to be blended in perfectly with a pass option. You can have a run game and you can have a pass game that are separate, even if they share alignments, even if they share the personnel, but they can be separate plays. I think the Chiefs right now still try to tie everything to, this can be an RPO or a pass or a run altogether. And I think we need to get past that. And I think the personnel is probably the biggest issue when it comes to that.
Do you think that, and I agree with that, that's what I went with as well. Do you think there is a possibility that or the Chiefs seeking out a trade for a running back, and some of the names that are brought up, Tony Pollard, Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, Devon Achane. I mean, but I don't know why they would trade him, and if they did, it would cost you a lot more than the others. Would you be interested in an acquisition of any of those players?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Chiefs should be heavily interested to see if anybody's shopping. Any of these teams that are also not having great records are shopping any of their running backs, especially guys that are a little bit more expensive, because you can handle that. Right? A lot of them will be able to be cut after this season if you wanted to, or moved on from. So Kamara, I think, would obviously be a great choice. He's a little older, but you're not keeping him for the goal isn't to trade for him and have him be a building block. It's a year or two, and then you're moving on. I think you're completely comfortable with that type of player here. Tony Pollard's a good one that, I hadn't seen as many people say, and I was looking around at those guys yesterday, and he was one that popped out. If you want a guy a little bit lesser known that I think could be a boost to the room, not as much as these guys. He's a step down from these players, but I think he could be a boost. Would be Jerome Ford in Cleveland.
Oh, interesting.
Now that Judkins is back for them and playing, I wonder if Jerome Ford's available, because I do think that he's probably a better runner than anybody the Chiefs have right now. I don't know if he's good enough to make a huge difference, but it would be worth a shot at this point in time, because I don't know if I can see a running back run towards the opposite end zone many more times.
and speaking of this matchup, with the Ravens, Jerome Ford against the Ravens had 11 touches for 60 yards in that game, running and receiving. So that's an interesting one. Who's had a lot of experience playing as a backup, but he's been forced into action a good portion of the time. Matt Lane is our guest, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Defensively for this Kansas City Chiefs team, what they've done this year, I think maybe our last conversation was after the Chargers game. And there was, I think that's the last one we had. I don't know. Maybe it's been a little bit before. But there was certainly a concern defensively from what we saw in that game. And going into the Philadelphia Eagles game, I was really concerned about what they would do against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Goddard not playing certainly makes a difference. But the defense the last couple of weeks, what have you seen from them? And do you feel like the defense is much more week 2 and 3 than whatever the heck was going on in week 1 against the Chargers? And maybe if they played the Chargers again, we might see a different defensive effort.
This is the, I think, hardest question to answer about the Chiefs right now is what exactly is the defense? Because week one was not particularly good, right? And was it the travel? Was it the field? Was it, just being caught off guard by the Chargers and Greg Roman going with such a pass-heavy script and Justin Herbert playing great? Like, was it just all circumstantial? Or is the defense more like it was in week 2 or week 3? But when I go back and look at it, week 2, it was a bunch of blitzing, an unreal amount of blitzing, specifically cover 0, and that's just not something you can do week after week. Like, not every quarterback is susceptible to that as Jalen Hurts is. Mm-hmm. And then you look at week 3, the Chiefs just sat there and played split field safety, so, cover 2, cover 4, 80% of the time. And that's not crazy high, but it's still pretty darn high. And there's a lot of other teams around the NFL that would just be able to complete everything underneath that the Chiefs were kind of giving up. Russell Wilson and the Giants just aren't one of those teams. So they've been living with these very extreme game plans that have been perfectly dialed up for their opponent. The players have executed it exceptionally well, and so they've put back-to-back performances that are pretty good out there. I just don't know if it's something that you can expect week in and week out when you play a more balanced or more, I think, relatively traditional offense. So this week against the Ravens, I think, will be a big kind of litmus test for that, because I don't think there is a single out of left field kind of like coverage or defensive scheme that Spags can lean on for the vast majority of the game. I think they will have to mix it up a little bit more, play this one a little bit more straight, just in terms of you won't be able to spam the same couple play calls over and over again this week like they did the last 2 weeks, and then we'll really see where this defense is at.
Let's hear, while we got you on the phone, Matt, let's hear from Lamar Jackson. He was asked in his press conference about how the Lions were able to frustrate him in the way that they did.
Guys were doing stunts, and they had a spy, and sometimes the spy was grabbing my leg, and that's just what it was. Guys they were chopping in coverage. Got 3 safeties back there, and I'm just not going to throw a Hail Mary ball. I'm going to read the coverage out and then try to make something happen.
Stunts, spy, and dropping in coverage with 3 safeties is why he was so frustrated by the Lions. Is Lamar letting a secret out as to why that was so effective? Is there anything to take away from that for the Chiefs as they get set for Sunday?
So I think what what he's saying right there, yes, the Lions did, but I don't think that was the actual secret to why it worked. Because we've seen every team ever has tried those things against Lamar Jackson. He's been very good at scrambling, right? We've seen the Chiefs try to spy him, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And so I think he's telling the truth, but I think the bigger thing was, and it's hard to say exactly what the plan was, the Lions, the way they rushed him was very different. They were getting really far up the arc with their edge rushers. They were rushing really deep in the pocket, and it was almost like they were trying to run past him and then turn around and counter back inside. And you would think traditionally you don't want to do that to a mobile quarterback. You don't want to pass them because they're going to take off and run. But I don't know if it was the stunting from the interior guys that were kind of waiting for him. I don't know if it was the spy sitting there. I don't know what was making him hesitate to just pull the ball and run when they did that. But it just continuously, these edge rushers would get past him, and right as he would try to step up instead of drift backwards like he prefers to do, they would spin move or step back across the inside and be on top of him. So I really liked their rush plan and how they went about attacking him. So I do think it's going to boil down to what is your rush lane integrity? Yeah. How are you going to attack him? You got to keep him in there. But I think the Lions did a good job forcing him to escape where they wanted him to, and I don't know if he's going to allow that to happen in back-to-back weeks, but I do think Spags and the Chiefs should take note of how they were able to rush him. Yeah,
it's an interesting part of it, and certainly they'll have a spy, and I wonder, Matt, if you're picking a spy for Lamar Jackson, they've got some candidates. Obviously, Leo Chenal has done that with Josh Allen and could do that with Lamar. Drew Tranquill is there. We had somebody bring up earlier this week and say, what about the potential of Jeffrey Bossa being in there specifically? Your entire job is to spy Lamar Jackson on obvious sort of passing situations, not like 1st down and 10 and having to worry about then, getting through a block and tackling Derrick Henry. What do you think of those 3 and the idea that maybe Bossa could be a spy specialist, like a pass rushing specialist could be a spy specialist in pass rushing or obvious passing situations?
I think you mix it up and do it with different guys. So, yeah, they should all, Leo and Drew should get opportunities to do it. I get nervous having a linebacker be my spy on Lamar Jackson because if it's anything but an alleyway, he is too fast and too quick for linebackers. Like, I've seen him beat Drew Tranquill. I've seen him beat Leo Chenal, 2 corners in small and relatively confined spaces. So linebackers do make me nervous, but I think they'll get some opportunities. Bassett in a Dorian O'Daniel type role. That's how the Chiefs. That's essentially Dorian O'Daniel's only defensive use for the Chiefs for a couple of years. Was when they played the Ravens. He would spy Lamar Jackson. He did pretty well, so I could see them going back to that playbook too. An interesting one for me might be Tramari Connor. Against the Giants later in the game when it was pure passing situations, they were playing him in the Justin Reed role. So he was dropping down and essentially playing as a second linebacker next to Nick Bolton rather than any safety. You know, Hicks was deep, Brian Cook was deep, even Chris Roland Wallace was deep or, you know, overhanging, and they had Connor playing pretty much in the box. I wonder if he's not a guy that might get some spy reps just because he's a little faster than linebackers. I think Connor is a pretty good tackler. He gets overzealous at times and overruns stuff, but he's a big hitter and stuff. So I wonder if he gets some opportunity as well, just based on the alignment that I saw them using him in versus the Giants.
All right, what do you think happens on Sunday, Matt?
I think the Ravens are a flawed team. I think we've seen it a couple times this year. Like everybody loves the Ravens because they have a lot of advanced metrics that like them, and I think a lot of that boils down to they try really hard in the regular season, so they put up really good advanced numbers. And not that they're a bad team, I just think they're more flawed than they typically are. They're a little weak on both trenches. They're not having great injury luck right now. Their spine of their defense isn't playing great. They've struggled to run the ball a couple times. Like they have stuff stacking up against them. My only hesitation is their weaknesses the Chiefs' strengths don't really match up with. The Chiefs aren't the best suited team to attack a weak run defense. They're not the best suited team to attack a weak middle pass coverage or anything like that. So I do think a very angry Ravens team coming off that kind of embarrassing-ish loss on Monday night comes into Arrowhead with revenge on their mind. I think it's a close game. I think we come out of it and we can spin some positives for the Chiefs. I do think the Ravens are going to take this one 26-24. Unfortunately, you know, taking the Chiefs down to a 1-3 record.
God, I hope that 26-24 isn't a Butker missed field goal or anything. Cause
don't even. I'm not putting that out there.
Because there's some questions right now. I mean, like he's missing kicks that he hasn't missed, and so you know, we'll hear from Dave Tobe in about 20 minutes from now. We'll see if he has to say anything about that. Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Matt, you're the man. Appreciate it as always, brother. Enjoy the football, and we will talk in a couple of weeks.
Thank you for having me on, and I really hope I'm wrong.
Me too. I'm kind of on the same page as you that, you know, the Lions were able to do what they were able to do with 224 rush yards and 7 sacks, and the Chiefs don't really rush it or sack the quarterback. So it doesn't seem like the way the Chiefs could get it done. So, Matt, you're the man. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Absolutely. There's Matt Lane joining us, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. We will hear from the Kansas City Chiefs coming up in the last segment of this particular hour, and we'll hear from Dave Tobe and Steve Spagnuolo, and we'll hear from Matt Nagy and also Chris Jones when we head out there to Arrowhead. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue more Zone next. Hey, man, if you're out there and you happen to be suffering from erectile dysfunction, well, there is no need to wait. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. Thank you to Matt Lane joining us. Talking some NFL football, some Kansas City Chiefs football. He's got the Ravens winning 26-24, begrudgingly. Ravens winning 26-24. I think most people will have this as a closer game one way or another, with the Chiefs winning or the Ravens winning by a close margin. And as I said in the previous segments and days, that if it's a closer game, a lot more pressure on Harrison Butker to come through in those big kicks. We will hear from special teams coordinator and associate head coach, assistant head coach, and that is Dave Tobe. We'll hear from Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, and then we will have some assistant coaches today. Andy Heck, Dave Merritt, and Connor Embry will be at the podium, and then Chris Jones when he gets to the podium today. So we have
I'm intrigued by Andy
coaches.
Heck, right? I think that should be
Sure.
well, just with Jawan Taylor, I'm sure we should at least hopefully get some sort of.
How do you coach him up to line correctly? Him lining up correctly, is that a player issue or is that a coach issue?
You get a buzzer, and anytime he lines up,
it's a shock. It's like the beginning of Ghostbusters when I'm getting a little tired of this man.
Forgot about that. Yeah,
He spits out his gum.
Yeah.
That's what Jawan Taylor is. Why is he false starting? Because he's just flinching.
but
crazy.
he's false starting more, but
But
he's not lining up
that's correctly
offside
That
or
is
illegally.
correct. Because it's coach him up. But then at some point, like, it's on the player. Like, the player needs to figure it out. Like you can only coach somebody up so often to do the right thing. I don't think the Chiefs are coaching him to line up illegally.
Yeah.
So eventually it comes down to the player. And if he keeps doing the same thing over and over again, then it comes down to the coaches by accepting it. It becomes something where, oh, well, I can keep doing this because it's something that I've been doing and I'm getting called for it, but that's fine. And you can say, well, he's aware and he knows that it's unacceptable. But does he, though, know that it's unacceptable? And again, I think there has to be an annoyance if you're Jawan Taylor of why are you picking and choosing to call it? If I'm lining up this way most of the game, why are you not calling it every time? And if I'm the Chiefs, I want them to call it every time.
Yeah.
Either he lines up correctly or he gets benched. Either way, it's a positive for the Chiefs. So we'll see. And maybe Jalen Moore plays this weekend because they may have more of a running game plan against a Ravens defense that has been struggling against the run. Even the Bills can run the ball with James Cook, we know that, and Josh Allen, obviously. And the Lions are very good at running the ball, but the Cleveland Browns with Judkins and Jerome Ford had 16 carries for almost 100 yards. Those guys combined averaged 5.7 yards per carry. Judkins and Jerome Ford.
And one was Judkins. I believe that was the one he busted off a long one, I think, in that particular game, if I'm not mistaken.
The long run in that one for it was a 31-yard run. So Judkins had 10 carries, 61 yards with a 31-yarder. So 9 carries for 30 yards.
Still, that's still not horrible, I guess.
Jerome Ford had 6 carries, 31 yards. So combined 16 carries, 92 yards, 5.7 yards per carry with their 2 running backs in the game. They also had a combined 8 receptions for 33 yards. So Judkins and Jerome Ford had 16 carries, so 24 touches for 125 yards in the game with those 2 guys. In a game
Not
where they
bad.
lost 41-17, they were still able to be successful with their running game. But obviously we've talked a lot about what the Chiefs have and don't have in that regard. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll head out to Arrowhead coming up on the other side of the break. More Zone next. All right, hanging out on a Thursday edition of the Zone Sports or Leisure coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll hear from the Kansas City Chiefs coordinator and assistant coach day. So hearing from Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, Dave Tobe, not in that order. Actually, I think it's going to be Tobe, Spags, and Nagy. And then we'll hear from Andy Heck, Dave Merritt, and Connor Embry. So O-line, defensive back, and wide receivers coach. And then Chris Jones. We'll hear from him as they get set for the Baltimore Ravens and a tough matchup. Here is Dave Tobe.
Good. Fire away.
Hey, with Harrison, is it just a series of things little adjustments he needs to make, or has there been a consistent thing with it?
Yeah, we're assuming that right now, that it's just a small little thing. It's technical. We look at the tape and we see, it's an unusual miss for him to miss it right. So it's got to be, the way his contact, his ball contact, and we just got to work harder, not harder, but smarter in practice. He doesn't need to do more because he does a lot already. If anything, we need to cut down what he does and get more specific on, making sure that the contact is good and the rotation of the ball and the fundamentals are down. You just go back. That's what you do. You go back and you go from scratch and you evaluate it and you talk about it and you look at the tape and you build your confidence back and then you go.
In all your years of doing it, what have you learned about just getting out of a slide or a slump, something like that?
Haven't had too many guys that had a long slump. Hopefully this week is the start of a new streak, a good streak. So, that's the way we always look at it. It's always about the next kick. And, I haven't had too many guys that had a slump over, a 3 or 4 week period.
It seems like he may be fighting the balance between accuracy and distance. Do you kind of see that?
That's one of the things that we talked about, we kick a lot of long kicks in practice, and we're kind of, just to be a little bit more specific with it, we're going to kick more shorter kicks and less longer kicks, because the shorter kicks are the ones that, you have to have. You have to have, obviously you want to try to get the long ones too, but we can't spend our time doing that. We have to get more specific and talk about the accuracy of the ball, on those shorter kicks. And that's what we're going to do.
There was a lot of talk about the follow through and the knee at the ground last year. He was going to change that. Has that been any effect?
No, that's not. We're not going to change. He's in a good spot now because he has confidence in his ankle and he's not dropping down. He's but that's not the issue right now. It's just the ball contact. The way his foot's hitting the ball and leaving it outside instead of following through. But it's not the knee. There's nothing with that.
Around the league, his last week was nuts.
Blocks, yeah.
And all this stuff. Was that just a crazy week, or are you seeing more of an emphasis on trying to make blocks and everything?
I just think it was the week. Just the luck of it. The guys are, they're trying to block him. Everybody is. I think there was some low kicks in there if you look at it. Some issues, particularly in the blocking on that one team where they had two against the Rams. So you got to get that fixed during the game. If you have one, you got to get it fixed right away because they're going to keep coming back at it. And I think they did that in that A gap. So, it's just, I think it was just one of those weeks where it was a lot of them. Going into our week, going into our game, by the time we played, we already knew that there was a bunch of blocks. And we said, hey, let's join the crowd. Obviously we got our block in that game, but it was, obviously Graham Gano got hurt and they had the left-footed punter in there kicking and different holder. But we took advantage of the situation. So I was pleased that we were able to get one.
Is there a good coaching moment for you guys on the other side of it? When you see those blocks, you tell guys, hey, listen, man, people are coming after this. You have to be right. There's no.
Oh yeah, there's no question. Just like we look at all the big plays that happen, and we say, we always look at it at the other side. It's a great play, but why did it happen? You're evaluating guys, and you're always, doing a lot of self-scout, looking at yourself, saying that could happen to us if we're not careful and make the corrections, even though it wasn't you that was playing.
Couple more. In the new kickoff rule, it seems like you guys are getting out by 28 starting position, field position.
Yep.
I know that's better than last year, what kind of league average. There are some teams that are doing really well. Like I know the Rams have like a ridiculous starting field position, really good. What you kind of see in variance?
Are you talking kickoff, or are you taking kickoff?
Kickoff.
Okay, our kickoff. Yeah, our kickoff. We're doing a good job on our kickoff. I'm not as pleased with our kickoff return. It's only been 3 games. Had we had the long return that and Thornhill got in the call back, and it would have been totally different. But right now, we're still trying to get our kickoff return team going a little bit more. But I'm pleased with our kickoff team, the way it's going so far. Bucker's able to move the ball, makes it tough for the kickoff return team, and those young players, guys like Bossa, is making great plays for us, and Cooper, and so it's working well right now.
Last one, Nate.
Dave, how close? Speaking of blocks, how close do you think you guys are on maybe getting a punt block coming up?
Yeah, Shamari Connor was real close. I mean, we had a block called, and he came free, and he was there, but the ball, I mean, it just went by his hand. It was a well executed play by our guys. I mean, that would have been a big play earlier in that Giants game. He's a good player. He's tough to handle.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, there's Dave Tobe. We'll hear from Matt Nagy and Steve Spagnuolo. A lot of talk about Harrison Butker, as we would have guessed, and a number of things to come from that as well. As the question was a good one of, is he sort of balancing or struggling between accuracy and distance? And he said, it's actually something we've talked about, and we're going to kick more shorter kicks than longer kicks in practice.
Yeah.
We're going to work on that more because, distance has been one thing, but as he said, the shorter ones we have to have. So it's nice to have the distance, but you have to have those extra points and shorter kicks. Missing a 58-yarder, okay.
Sure.
Missing a 48-yarder in the NFL today, not okay.
I think Lebo with a great follow-up in regards to, is it the leg?
Same question.
And that was my thought too. And he was pretty adamant that no, that has nothing to do with it. Nothing about him falling to one knee or not falling down. That has nothing to do with how he's contacting the ball. All faith in that ankle. It's just it's like a golfer. He's pushing it right now. He's a guy, Butker, that used to hit more of a draw, and right now he's leaving it outright. And so whether he's stabbing the ball versus following through, I think there's a lot of comps to golf in that you can make in this situation here.
Yeah, and as he said, he doesn't miss right. And so the fact that he missed right tells him that it's a contact on the ball issue.
Yeah.
Not a knee. He said he's comfortable with his ankle, all that stuff. Here is Steve Spagnuolo.
I don't have much. I mean, it's good to visit after a win, but we kind of put that one to bed real quick and moving on to pretty good challenge here. It's a good football team. We'll have to play better than we did last week. So with that, I'll open it up.
Looked like you played a lot of split safeties against the Giants. Just
yeah.
When you do that, I mean, it looked like it was a heavy workload for you guys compared to maybe usual. What's the benefits of that, and what do you kind of really like about that with your personnel?
There was a guy we were concerned about. Well, listen, the week prior, that offense had put up some numbers, and they had really done it with some deep shots, some really good throws, and the receivers made some really good catches. So we didn't want that to happen again. We felt like if we let that happen, then we didn't want it to go that way like it did against Dallas. So we decided to take that away first. And then as the game went, you're just trying to decide whether do you stay in it, do you get out of it. And, for whatever reason, we decided to go that route. That won't be like that every week. But when it was all said and done, we looked up there and there was 9 points. We felt good about that.
Coach, Chris Jones is usually, I know you guys have your own grading system and everything, but for the ones that are out there, he's usually one of the best. He's not grading like he usually does, right? What are you seeing?
What grades are you using?
PFF is what I'm looking at right now.
That's what everybody uses. The only thing, Chris Collinsworth, I think he's a good dude, and he's involved in that company. I don't know how you put a grade on somebody when you don't know actually what their assignment was or what they were being told. So, I don't know. It's like, from our standpoint, I thought Chris in this particular game had a real big effect on the game. They obviously found ways to double him, whether it was two linemen, the running back at times was chipping inside, which you don't see a lot, but that was the Chris Jones effect. A number of times that he didn't get there, but I think he forced a quick throw or step up. So, from my standpoint, I don't remember what Chris's actual grade was, but I know that at the end of the game, I thought the guys up front, Chris included, had a big effect on the way things went.
What did you see from the young guys?
I think Ashton continues to get better and better. Omar, it was his second game now, and after missing all that time, you could start to see him kind of climbing the ladder and getting better. He missed that one sack that I know he wants back badly, we talked extensively, and Coach Reed mentioned it the night before the game. When you play a quarterback, it's not quite as big. Expect that. And Omar was like, and all those guys, they don't want to leave sacks on the field. But I thought both those guys really stepped up and helped us. I did.
So you mentioned PFF and they don't know the plays. If I'm not mistaken, it was Mike Zimmer a couple of years ago when he coached the Vikings made that same point. How much stock do coaches, when they're looking at PFF, put the stock in that?
Well, I will say this. There's a lot of stuff that PFF puts out that's valuable and useful. My only thing, I think a lot of coaches feel the same way. Chris and I have talked about it. We've laughed about it. And I think their guys do a really good job. And they see, listen, they can be, but I just think there's a margin of error when you don't know exactly what the player was told. It may look like he's made a mistake or a mental error and gets, but it might have been exactly what they told him. So I think that there's a, I don't know, I took a stat class a long time ago, and there's a name for that, whatever. There's a margin of error. That's the only thing I can think of right now. But listen, we get paid to grade our guys and coach our guys and evaluate them. So we're not using that for that. And we're going to, as far as other players and whether we use the grades on other players, that has to come from our eye and watching the tape. So I don't think we would rely on grades. But there's a lot of other valuable information that PFF has.
Baltimore scoring more than anyone in the league right now. I guess what have you seen from their offense and in particular Lamar in this version?
Yeah, the same thing that we always see. A dynamic quarterback with a lot of talent around him and a team that can run the football. They, when they're really good, and they have been all year long, they can dictate the game by being two-dimensional the whole game. And you have to worry about it on every snap. It doesn't matter what the down and distance is. They'll run it when you're supposed to throw it and throw it when you're supposed to run it, and they got guys that can do it.
I'm surprised Detroit was able to sack him a career high 7 times. Anything you can use from that?
What just stood out to me just watching the game on TV was how relentless Detroit was. The effort that their pass rushers put in, I thought was really, really good, and they found ways to, eventually get them on the ground, which is not easy to do.
We're going to go last three, Blair, Todd, Nick.
The concept of a spy, when you spy the quarterback, what do you give up when you do that?
Well, he's probably going to have the ball a little bit longer, because you don't got 4 guys on him. You got to mix and match that. I mean, sometimes when we do too much of that, I feel like we handcuff the pass rushers a little bit. Because in essence you only have 2 or 3 guys rushing, they get doubled, and so we pick our spots. I mean, obviously every team that plays Baltimore is going to have some version of it, and you just got to decide when you're going to use it.
So Derrick Henry has not been a fumbler, but he's had a few big ones recently. I mean, I know you guys preach turnovers all the time. Is there more emphasis on that some weeks? And have you seen anything in the way he's turned it over? Maybe something you can exploit?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the same on offense as it is on. We always talk about getting turnovers in bunches, right? Maybe that happens to the offense too, the same way. I've never looked at him as a fumbler. I know he's had a couple in these past 2 games, but yeah, well, we try to attack the football and get him and put it on the ground. Yeah, anybody that touches it for them would like to do it. We haven't had that. I think we might have forced 1 or 2 out and haven't gotten them. I mean, it was nice to get the 2 interceptions last week. We need, really to slow this crew down somehow, some way. We got to find a turnover or 2 in there and give the offense some field position.
Steve, with a player like Lamar, how do you have to talk to the pass rush about having a certain mentality to where it's not 100 miles per hour?
Yeah.
Keep that discipline, keep that contained?
Yeah, it's a little bit more of a controlled rush, but we don't want to slow guys down by saying controlled. I mean, there is a certain way to try to tackle and sack these quarterbacks because he's so elusive. If you're out of control trying to tackle a guy like this, you're not going to get him because he knows how to sidestep. He's got a great stiff arm. He's long, So those are all things that we've talked about, and we got a bunch of guys that have played him before, so hopefully that experience against them will help us in this game. Yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
Good. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, there's Steve Spagnuolo, and a lot of talk obviously about playing the Ravens this weekend and Lamar Jackson, but also interesting stuff about Pro Football Focus that, saying don't know how you can grade someone without knowing the assignment and what they're being told. And he said this game specifically for Chris Jones, he was really good and had a big impact on the game because of how the Giants were attacking the Chiefs' defensive line, specifically wherever Chris Jones was, and even a middle chip from a running back, chipping on a defensive tackle not chipping on a defensive end that you typically see. They were doing that with Chris Jones. And then also saying, look, PFF, there's a lot of stuff that they put out that's really valuable. But it's just what's the margin for error that's there and not knowing the assignment. And as he said, that, hey, we grade our own guys. We grade our guys with our own grading system. And so that's what we go off of and with our eyes and things like that. So
clearly Derek Nottie, I think, falls into that category.
100%. Yep. But Chris Jones hasn't had the highest of grades this year. He is getting double teamed a lot. So, how does that affect a grade for PFF that he's double teamed and doesn't have an impact on the play? Is that a loss? Or does he get graded higher because it took two guys to block him? I certainly think there are impacts with that. He also was asked about the split safeties that they played, and he said, well, there was a guy we were concerned about, a little chuckle in Malik Neighbors as to why they played the split safety, and 80% of that cover two and split safety look on Sunday night. And he said, the week prior they had a lot of those deep completions, so that's why. Here's Matt Nagy.
Yeah. What did you see, especially in the second half? And do you feel like there's any strides being made in that area?
The second half was better. We had some bigger chunks early on, whether it's the RPO game or under center. I just felt like there was more of a rhythm that first drive of the third quarter. Some of that was obviously it was the opposite in the second quarter. That wasn't what we want to be, and we went in at halftime and just talked about just settling down, getting back to who we are, and I think that's very important. And the guys did that coming out there to start the third. You stayed away from penalties, you got positive yards, and then you were effective in the red zone with a great throw and catch by by Patrick and 80.
From a production standpoint, to check on a better game, I guess, what did you see that maybe is leading to his success?
Well, I would say kind of like we talked about as a shooter, the more shots you get in a rhythm. I think that was probably evident a little bit with both of those guys the other day with Kareem and Pacheco. The one thing I love about both of those guys in that room is those guys are so intense and they care so much. So when they get the ball, they get opportunities, they want to be able to show what they can do. And sometimes probably in the week prior, there might have been a little bit of pressing, not just from them, but from everybody. And I think, let's just get away from that part of it. Let's just be us and just be calm and just play the game and not get out of sorts. And I thought our guys did a great job with that, in particular that start of that third quarter.
Coach, maybe this is just a figure of speech and I'm making too much of it, but I thought it was interesting last week you said you were looking for an identity.
Mm-hmm.
And here you just said at halftime, get back to who we are.
Yeah.
Is that to say that you found that identity and who it is? Like I said, I'm not trying to...
No. You're right with what you're thinking, but
right.
What I'm trying to say is I think in that first half, getting back to who we are is probably as simple as it sounds, just being calmer and just settling down, not the identity of the offense, but just being us and just somebody, no one pressing, just playing the game. If something happens, we adjust. Same thing with coaches too. Like, let's make sure that we're under control, and then when we get out there, we expect execution, and then it's teamwork.
Now, we didn't get a chance to ask Patrick this yesterday, but what happened on the misconnection between he and Travis in the first half?
Just remind me. I'm so past that game. Remind me exactly the play.
I'm sorry. There was what was it, about 10 yards or so? And
the little check down?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was more of just, he was just that. He was fourth in the progression. He's a check down, and they just miss each other. There's nothing more to it other than it might have even been a little bit of what was in front of Pat as he's trying to find a lane. But nothing that we've gone back and said, oh no, this shouldn't happen. They got to make that catch, but that one wasn't really big on our list for that one, even though we want to make that play.
Matt, where do you feel like,
Go ahead, sorry.
where do you feel like Travis is right now? We've seen, obviously, the cameras have caught some things the past couple weeks on the sideline. Just where do you feel like he is right now?
Travis is fine. Everybody here, we know who Travis is. We love it. We don't ever want to take that away from him. He's one of the, if not the greatest tight end to ever play the game. One of his greatest strengths is playing with emotion. And the beauty of what I think you saw happen the other day is it's never personal. It's just like sometimes it's just created. He cares. Coach Reed cares. We all care. So that happens a lot. Sometimes not always just in the game, but at practice, and we really don't make anything of it. I mean, it's all pure and nothing but love.
And I think Patrick spoke a little bit about just some balls he'd like back, and and I think if I understood him right, not really about the reads, just the accuracy itself.
Mhm.
Are you seeing that too? And what is the commonality if you do see a commonality?
There might be a few throws. The one that jumps out to me, there was one play where he was a little bit short on his post throw to Taekwon. That's the one that really probably jumps out to me the most. And so there's others, though, that at the end of the game, he throws that long pass back to him after the drop call. He goes right back to him and makes a spectacular throw. The touchdown pass to Taekwon was ridiculous, just that we take for granted that we think it's simple. It's not. So there's a lot of great things that Patrick is doing right now. We want to keep that going. We want to continue to harp on feet and timing and progression, and that all matches up with those deep throws that I think we're doing more of this year.
Last two, Sam and then Todd.
How much do you feel like his feet have improved just as the offensive line has settled in?
Much better from last year as far as his feet, and that's a positive, and he does it in practice. He takes it to the game. There might be a player or two here where it's not perfect, but when he's off schedule, he's the best in the game. So there's a balance of that.
Xavier Worthy at practicing. What have you seen from him so far? And if he can go, what can he do for you guys?
Well, he's such a big part of this offense, and he's been so instrumental in training camp and OTAs coming back this second year. He's so anxious to get back out there and show us what he can do and show us the growth, and then all of a sudden that happens in week one. So now coming back, I thought last week was a positive, and now this week excited. He's doing really well. He's running around. He looks good out there. So we're just literally taking it day by day, and I like where he's at, and it's exciting. The room, the vibe. I mean, getting Rasheed back, in the meetings. There's just there's a great chemistry. We know where we're at 1 and 2. We understand the significance of this game, but it's slowly coming back to that vibe, and Xavier's a big part of that.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, there's Matt Nagy, and the running game. Kelsey's emotions, Mahomes' accuracy, inaccuracy, his feet. Travis Kelce, the emotions that he's showing. A lot of stuff covered there with Matt Nagy that we'll get into and we'll talk about after the press conferences are over. But took note to start a few things there with Matt Nagy, especially saying the difference between first half and second half. They went at halftime and said, guys, let's just go back to be ourselves, which is being a little more calm. But here's Dave Merritt.
Back about this too, but you played a lot of split safeties against the Giants, and obviously you're trying to take away Malik. But what is it about your personnel that really seems to fit that?
All right. I mean, I think, when you're playing split safety defense, you don't have to have as much talent on the outside or back deep when you're playing zone defense. You look at some of the old school teams that played a lot of Tampa 2 and things of that nature. You just have to have guys who are disciplined, making sure if you're supposed to play in the flat, play in the flat. If you're supposed to be a deep player, make sure you stay deep. A lot of guys came from those Tampa 2 systems that, of course, have jackets in the Hall of Fame. But you don't have to have as much skill set to play the split safety defense.
How challenging is it for your group, and you're playing Lamar? You got to worry about pass catchers, but he can take off.
Very, very much so. I mean, so you just said it. This guy can take off at any time. And so when you're dealing with a guy like Lamar, you need to understand that when we use the word plaster. So when he starts scrambling, if you have a guy in your area, you need to start connecting to your man and stay with him. Let the pass rushers rush Lamar, and let the underneath zone defenders maybe close in on him. But if you're a secondary guy, umbrella guy, you need to grab a guy and plaster.
Dave, how much of, and again, I know it's 3 games, but I remember Justin Reed, tweeting out support of young guys, especially after the game in Brazil. How much of his presence do you think is still with the guys, and what's it like watching young players have to do it and learn it themselves when they don't have that senior veteran?
No, you're right. I mean, his presence is still in the locker room, and so you have the guys that he came up with, the Fab Five. So those guys came in with Justin Reed, and so what Justin left here, the residue, that group is still carrying on, his leadership, what he had in our room, and so. I think when you lose a guy like a Justin Reed who's so smart on the football field, who can get us in and out of checks, it does hamper you a little bit. But I think the guys have picked it up. Jamari Connors has done a great job of understanding the defense, because primarily he was a nickel before. Now he's playing nickel and safety, and so we're trending in the correct direction.
Noel Williams has had a progression where he's playing more and more on the outside, and you've left him one-on-one with some pretty good wide receivers. How does that help you with allowing Trent McDuffie to play in the slot?
Tremendously. So if we can have a young man like a Noel come in and do the things that he's doing, you want that. And so the fact that he's able to go out there and use his skill set versus these top receivers, that's helping everyone out. Not only Trent, it's helping the D-line out as well. So he's done a great job.
What stood out to you about Chris's interception?
Say that again.
What stood out to you about Roland Moss's interception?
Just the fact that we knew the play when the kid was motioning in, that he understood the concept that they were going to run, and he took a chance. And sometimes you have to take a chance, and that's what he did. And so the fact that he was able to understand what was going to happen, that was excellent for him. I'm glad he made the play.
Dave, from Brazil till now, what has been the biggest growth you've seen in the secondary?
Probably the communication. These guys are communicating well, no busted coverages. And so when you can communicate well and you don't have busted coverages, that's going to help everyone again. And so it's going to bring the yardage down. So the communication has been, tremendous. So hopefully we'll continue with that.
Coach, Brian Cook, from outside grades, whatever they're worth, it's having a really nice season.
Yeah.
According to that, have you noticed, is it maybe he's playing a little in a different spot? Are you using him differently, or is it just an evolution that you're seeing from him?
Yeah, I think what it is we told Brian that he needs to take more chances, be more aggressive in his coverage, and that's what he's doing. He's playing the same position. There's nothing new, but he's actually understanding that, when I get this route concept, let me now take a chance and take a shot at maybe trying to go make a play. Now, he should have caught the one in the end zone. All right, he got up pretending like his neck was hurt and then came back. No, basically, you alligator armed it, extend out there and catch the ball. But I think he's just taking more chances. He's more confident. And so that's, good to see Brian on that ascending trajectory that we would like to see him on.
Last one, anyone?
You're having fun with us here, but you tell it like that in the meeting room?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All of them. Even Jalen Watson, go back. Jalen Watson should have had 2 interceptions. That one pass that everyone thought was a dirt ball, it actually went through his hands and hit his stomach. So you look at the TV copy, he should have actually caught that. I think he closed his eyes. It's just like guys who are getting ready to make a tackle. If you close your eyes, you're probably going to miss it. So you have to keep your eyes open like my buddy Mike Singletary used to do. So, but he should have had 2 interceptions.
Thank
All right.
you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. All right. God bless you all.
The most open eyes in NFL history, Mike Singletary. So you got to keep your eyes open. I don't know if Mike Singletary ever blinked in an NFL game. I mean, those eyes were so wide. But little joke for Brian Cook. How good is he playing? How well he's playing? Should have had that interception in the end zone. Got up holding his neck, acting like he was hurt. All he did was alligator arm it. Then he came back in the game. That's like, okay.
You know how good of a relationship you have to have with a player to
100%.
make a joke like that?
Yeah, when he's holding his neck and he's down for a while and then, leaves the game and then comes back. Like, you dropped the interception, but you hurt your neck, didn't you? Oh, yeah, you came back in the game, though. And then Jalen Watson should have had another one, but, he closed his eyes. So he wanted to make that catch, too. We are going to hear from Andy Heck coming up right now.
Kingsley's doing a lot of things really well, and just like all of us, every time we turn on a practice, every time we turn on a game tape, we find stuff, hey, we got to work on this, we got to get better at that, and he's no exception. So he's working on things like staying more square in the pocket, but I would say he's given us good physical play. He's been adapting to that guard position very well. I'm very encouraged by what I'm seeing out of him.
Coach, you mentioned yesterday that Juwan's been playing pretty well in pass pro, but penalties, run game's been a little bit off. What do you do to try and get him on track there?
Yeah. Without question, he's a talented pass protector. But as he knows, as we know, as everybody in the world knows, penalties are, going backwards is not good for the football team. And so, the only guy that can fix that is him right there. And so, I've seen him make a conscious effort to work on that, and we need him to do it. Bottom line is he's got to do that.
Is he a marked man with officials? Do you think they've got an eye on him?
Well, Yeah, certainly. I mean, I wouldn't use the word you used, but yeah, they've got an eye on him. I mean, they watch tape, and here's the alerts on this outfit, and we're going to watch out for this and that. And so, without question, they'll come over and say, "Hey, you're going to have to move up on the ball for me," even before the game starts.
I mean, you watch the tape. I mean, personally, there are times it looks to me like he's lined up even further back, and they don't call him. I mean, is there a continuity to this from team to team? Play to play, or
Well, first I would say in terms of his depth, I mean, we track that on a daily basis. We track that week to week. PFF tracks that, and you can see that there are upwards of 20 tackles that line up as deep or deeper than him. Now, when he's getting called, those are good calls. I mean, he's too deep. Your helmet's got to break the plane. I think as a very prideful player, one of the things Juwan takes a lot of pride in is he's going to give himself every advantage that he can. He's going to be on that snap count, and what we're telling him is, hey, that's not necessarily an advantage every time. Like, in fact, it can get you in trouble if you're too quick, you're too deep. That's creating too much space, and so. But he does take a lot of pride in what he's doing there.
How much and in what ways has Josh Simmons delivered from what you thought he'd be advertised? When you did get him in the draft.
It's jumps out at you when you watch the tape, when anybody watches him, how twitchy he is, how explosive he is. I would say, for a lighter guy, how strong he is. And so those are, great attributes at that position.
Coach, with the running game, is it a sense where you wanted to see a plethora of concepts with this new group? Or are you trying to find the balance of maybe paring it down and finding what you guys are good at and then sort of building as the season goes on?
Well, that's a good question. In terms of, we still are in the process of finding out what we're good at. We've always done a lot of different concepts. I mean, I think that's whether it's throwing formations at people, different motions, variety. I would say the same is true of scheme. We're a mid-zone team. We're an inside zone team. It might be that we're best at one of those two things, but we're going to have gap schemes. We're going to have man schemes. We're going to have specials. And so, I believe in that. We will find them. We'll find out what it is we're best at, from the line standpoint, from the runner standpoint, and what's best for our team. Is it getting under center and rolling, or is it RPOs? And we've kind of been a big RPO team through the years.
Coach, how much does the RPO maybe handcuff the offensive lineman? I mean, if you're wanting to get downhill and the guys aren't sure if it's going to be a run or a pass, I mean, does that make it more difficult for you guys? Is it something that is less enjoyable to play the game that way and not be able to just unleash and go try to maul somebody?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, when you've got a double team of three technique, it doesn't matter to me whether the quarterback's under center or we're in the shotgun, and he might spit it out with a throw. I mean, there's a guy between you and my buddy right there. We're going to go get hip to hip and take that guy off the ball. I don't think it handcuffs the O-line in any way. We're not saying, hey, let's be less aggressive, let's be less physical, just because there may be a throw. We're blocking for that runner.
Coach, we saw Jalen Moore get some reps at the end of the game. Was that just giving some work, or maybe a little motivation for Juwan, or maybe both?
Not the second. I mean, Jalen's been doing a lot of good things for us. We got a lot of confidence in him. Good big body in there. Did a nice job in there in that 4 minute.
Last one.
Andy, this might be hard to sum up, but one other thing on Juwan, sort of in what ways over time have you tried to reach him differently, or have you tried a lot of different things on these points?
No, I'm open to suggestions there. I mean, don't jump off sides. Don't line up too deep. This is offsides. No, we've had good communication on that. We've had heart-to-heart, and Juwan is a smart guy. He knows what he's got to do.
And for all you've been pleased with on him, it must be frustrating at some level as a coach to feel like you're seeing some of the same things over and over. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's an old coaching adage. You don't want to repeat offenses. So if you make a mistake, make it once. Let's not come back and make the same mistake again.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, there's Andy Heck. A lot to take away from Andy Heck as well from that. A lot of talk about Juwan Taylor, clearly. The consistency of the calls. I thought it was interesting that they tracked the depth of Juwan Taylor along with other tackles in the NFL, and they said he said there are upwards of 20 tackles in the NFL that line up as deep or deeper than Juwan Taylor does. But he also then said, but the calls have been correct. When he's been called for illegal formation, it's an illegal formation. The question is the consistency that's there. And also interesting where he said, we've also told him that you're trying to create an advantage, but sometimes it's a disadvantage. Like, you didn't need that much space between you and the defensive end there. You created too much space with that. So that became a disadvantage
So I've
for
said
you.
with Deion Dawkins. Deion Dawkins gets as far up as he possibly can because I think he wants to get his hands on the guy quick.
Yep. And Jalen Moore dropped more to his 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
With the San Francisco 49ers, and Juwan Taylor almost drops to his 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like straight back drops. And it was like, okay, so you're taking an edge angle for Jalen Moore with the 49ers while you're dropping, but you're also getting early contact with him, to slow that down, where maybe that power to speed combination is taken a little bit away if, they can't get some momentum built up, whereas Juwan Taylor is dropping, and that guy has 3 or 4 steps before contact's even made. So he's able to almost set up his move to a degree that, I'm going to punch with the right hand. I'm showing the punch with the right hand, which is what I did last time, but now I'm actually ducking underneath as you go to punch, and now I've turned the corner on you.
It was a ruse.
It's right. It was all a ruse. Tricked you.
All a ruse.
Gotcha. So if you get the hands on him early, then, tougher to duck underneath that punch from the offensive line if you've already got your hands on him. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting in saying he's trying to gain an advantage, but it's a disadvantage at times with Juwan Taylor. And the running game saying the same thing that Matt Nagy said last week, in that still finding out what we're good at. Said, always had a variety of concepts, but we're, mid and inside zone, but you've got other things in gap and outside zone and power and things like that, but has said they're still going to have to find out what we're best at. Is that under center or RPO? Always been more a traditional RPO team, but it's 3 weeks in, and they're still trying to figure out the run game, what they are good at. I would say that, obviously in practice they do a lot of that, but you'd have to actually run some of those things in a game to find out what you are good at.
But also, it's not just 3 weeks. You've had the same running backs for how long?
Yep.
I mean, I think
now
it's
maybe
a
they're saying with Simmons and Kingsley, what are we good at? Can Kingsley pull?
Sure.
Is he good at this? Is it good as a duel? Can I double team and get to the next level with him?
And that's totally fair. I just think that.
But also, it's training camp and 3 weeks into the season.
Yeah, I don't love it's 3 weeks. Well, not really, because you've had more
training
time.
Camp, 3 preseason games.
And the entire time it's been here in Kansas City, the run game hasn't been great since the first. The Damian Williams.
Williams and Jerick McKinnon at times.
But also, do we.
And Clyde Edwards-Helaire's rookie year.
I don't know if we are.
When Eric Bieniemy was on the staff.
Are we ever overvaluing Damian Williams' numbers?
No,
I know the playoffs was great. I want to look what he did during the regular.
He was good.
I know he was. No, he was good.
He was a good player. Damian Williams on this team right now would go a long way. Having Damian Williams on this team would be really nice. Here is Connor Embry. We'll get to that next.
Back in the meetings and all that stuff, it's been an unsteady, I guess, receivers from the beginning with the injuries and all that stuff. What's it feel like this week with maybe what can be coming for you guys in the future, like getting everyone kind of around?
Yeah, no, it's been great having Rashid back. He brings a lot of energy. He brings that leadership, and he can help out the young guys. So it's great having Rashid back. Everyone in the room is excited to have him back.
And Xavier's been back on the practice field.
Yeah.
Obviously not the way he wanted to start the year. You feel that kind of emotion from him, like ready to get back out there as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's ready to go. Just like you said. I mean, it's been a couple months since he's really played a game. He played 3 snaps in the first game, and has been out since. So he's ready to go.
What was kind of going through your mind when Xavier goes down and you had your starting already with Rashid? I mean, I can't imagine there wasn't going through your mind like not again.
Yeah.
I mean, can't you just have like an easy season at receiver?
Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of just that next man up mentality. You can't really think about it, especially in the middle of the game. You can't just feel bad for yourself, or the team can't feel bad for themselves. So it's kind of just next man up, and whoever's there, we got to go to work and try to win this game.
Did it make it easier that those next men up were veterans like Juju and Hollywood?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that definitely helps, having, someone that's done it before, that's been there, that, Pat trusts. That's big. That helps out a lot.
Connor, what are you most encouraged by what you've seen from Taekwon so far?
And he's been consistent ever since he got here last year. He's worked hard. Same guy every day, and he's another dude that brings energy to our room. He's funny. He's very funny. But I really enjoy coaching Taekwon. He's one of those guys. Anything you ask him to do, he's willing to do it.
You mentioned last year. I mean, just the fact that obviously he'd been cut. It's not
Yeah.
exactly a great moment for a football player in that moment. What did you see from him just in those early days? And I guess you've got to be sort of bracing for everything. Right?
Yeah.
Players going through that.
I think it helped having Juju here, him knowing Juju, and then Juju knowing kind of his situation there, and then, kind of how we do things here. So having Juju helped him a lot. So that was probably the biggest help for him. And then just like anything else, it's all about timing. You see it all over the league. It's some people do good at some spots and then do bad at other spots, and vice versa. So I think it truly is it's good timing. He fits our offense, and he's put the work in.
Connor, what do you expect from Jalen Royals over this next few weeks?
Yeah, I expect him to get in and play. He had a really good offseason and training camp and preseason, and then, kind of got hurt at the end. So, but he was trending up the whole way. I really like, again, another great guy to have in the room. He's very quiet. He works hard. And, again, another guy, you ask him to do something, he'll do it.
Connor, is there anything you feel like you have to sort of explain or emphasize, let's just say, to Xavier about sort of protecting himself, given this is the first time he's played
Yeah.
with this particular injury?
Again, we've had a couple guys on the team with the same injury. Juju's one of those guys. He's kind of talked to them of kind of what to expect and kind of what to watch out for. But no, I'm not like, hey, once you get the ball, slide or jump out of bounds. He's got to play football. If he's out there, he's got to protect himself, whether he's got an injury or not. So we haven't really talked to him about like, hey, go slide or anything. So he's out there. He's going to be playing.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, there is Connor Embry. There's a little bit of break between Embry and Chris Jones. We will take it with them. We'll take a timeout, come back. We'll hear from Chris Jones coming up next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We got Sports or Leisure coming up at 1 o'clock. A lot of stuff to take away from the coaches' press conferences. We'll hear from Chris Jones when he gets into the room. Heard from Andy Heck, which we talked a little bit about, the things that we heard from him in Jawan Taylor and the run game and the RPOs. It was an interesting question about Jalen Moore, him getting into the game, and said, was that just to get him some reps? Was it motivation for Jawan? Thought that was interesting, and not, Josh, because that's what we've sort of wondered. Is it, even though he's playing on the left side, is it motivation for Jawan? And he said, well, it's definitely not the second. So definitely wasn't the second. Definitely wasn't motivation for Jawan Taylor with Jalen Moore getting in the game, although I would have liked it to have been motivation for Jawan Taylor in that game. So, but apparently it was not.
Just for fun.
Yeah. By the way, you've talked about it, and we've mentioned it, and the grades back up the eye test of how Brian Cook has played this year. And, Seren asking him, grades can mean one thing or another. You don't necessarily have to take it as gospel. But Brian Cook is being graded out as one of the top safeties in the NFL so far through 3 weeks. Is he being played in a different spot? Is he being asked to do different things? What is it about Brian Cook this year as to why he's played so well? And by the way, the eye test backs it up. He's all over the field, where oftentimes I'll be watching a game and go, did Brian Cook play today? Was he even out there? Like, he just doesn't seem it never showing up.
Yeah.
On the game film, right? Not just the all-22, but the game film where you're around the ball. And Dave Merritt was pretty interesting what he was talking about, which we'll get into next after Chris Jones.
We got to win this first weekend, so life is a little better.
What's that do for you guys just around the building when you get back, coming back with a winning flight and all that stuff?
For us, it's a momentum shifter. We're very familiar with winning here, and to have that win after 2 losses feels good. Feels good.
Chris, what did you make of George on Sunday in New York? What stands out about his day?
He was flying around. He was getting after it. I think he had 10 tackles. It's good for George.
You faced Lamar Jackson quite a few times. What's Lamar Jackson like?
As you see on film, fast, explosive. Any play in the game, he can change the dynamic of it. So, with him, it's always tough to play against Lamar and the Baltimore Ravens. Stopping Lamar is one thing, trying to contain him is another. And over the years, you look how prolific as a passer he's become. I think he's completing 70% of his passes, which I think he should have won MVP last year. Have so much respect for him.
You've seen a lot of football, I guess, Hunter, Henry, just any player in the league, how difficult is he to tackle?
Derrick Henry is the same as Lamar. Change the dynamic of the game at any point in the game. You got to make sure that not only one person, when he has the ball, not only one person bringing him down, make sure we crowd around him, grabbing him, clawing him, whatever we got to do to get him down, man.
Chris, does Steve Spagnuolo in the way he calls a game, especially the past couple of weeks, to where he evolves to what is going to take away the offensive strength? You kind of, when you look back at it afterwards, you kind of marvel about what he does.
Yeah, he's been in this game a long time. He's seen a lot of different things. He specializes in, taking away what the teams like to do best. So, we buy into that. We orchestrate a game plan around that, and we try our best to execute it.
Knowing what you know about Lamar, and I've played so many times, how remarkable was it that the Lions were able to sack you 7 times in the game tonight? Is that just a flip on the radar, or is there something that's possible to exploit, I guess?
You could take it both ways. It's not often Lamar is easily sacked 7 times. When I heard that stat line, I was like, oh, that's crazy. Because the Ravens mostly run the ball, but Lamar can pass the ball too. So, it's the dynamic of the game. I guess they went down and try to get back in the game and throwing the ball. So I get it. It happens. It's not often, but it happens.
Those weird ones in the recent history here with Derrick Henry was he's got a few fumbles, like late in games and stuff like that. He's not someone who's been someone to fumble the ball. And you guys watch tape on that. I know you always try to force turnovers, but is there something happening that you can see that's maybe a good thing for you guys?
Well, you know, Derrick Henry is one of the best running backs in the league, fumbles or not. And I think that's new territory for him, because you look over the years, he's not a big fumbler. So I'm quite sure he's, you know, working on it this week and the next few weeks to make sure he has the ball high and tight. But it's also as an opportunity for us to somebody grab him first. Well, two people grab him first, and let's try to get the ball.
Chris, you played with Travis for a long time. What's he like in the heat of battle during a game?
Travis is a fierce competitor. I think we all are fierce competitors. We all want to win. Sometimes in the heat of battle, sometimes emotions show. Sometimes we have confrontations, whether it's with coaches, players. But I think it's more so all out of competitive spirit. We all just want to win. We all want the best. We all want to succeed, man. And it's the nature of this. It's been like that since I've been here. I don't think that's going to change.
Chris, last week you talked about forcing turnovers. You guys went out and did that against the Giants. Were you pleased with that? And do you feel like that's a stepping stone of what you guys can be as a defense?
I definitely feel like it was a stepping stone moving forward with this defense. I feel like we can continue to stride in that way, you know, one step a day. It's progression for me. You know, we took a step, I think, last game, and forcing a few turnovers, and we could take another step this week. So a step a week, and by the time we get in December, January, we'll be where we need to be.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a beautiful day.
All right, there is Chris Jones, and I was just rudely interrupted by Chris Jones when he got to the podium.
Anytime we start to have a legit conversation instead of the dance that we do,
right,
that is when they start. It's like when you go to the bathroom at a restaurant. Your food will come back. Doesn't matter when you go. You could be waiting an hour. All of a sudden, you go to the bathroom, you come back, food's there. You go right when you wash your hands, boom, 100%. Food's there.
I mean, I could have missed the pain, but then I'd have to miss the dance, too. So I don't want to miss the dance. But Dave Merritt talking about Brian Cook and saying that I told him to take...
And here's James Winchester. No, I'm kidding.
That would be great. No, we are done. By the way, Michael Darcy just turned around.
Oh, sorry, Darcy. I was just messing with Anderson.
Don't go too far, Michael. But told Brian Cook to take more chances. Be aggressive in his courage. Be aggressive in your courage. And he said that, you know, he's starting to look at it and say, you know, I can see the route and I can know that I can play it a certain way, and wants him to be more confident. Or no, that he is becoming more confident. That's what that was, that he's playing at a more confident level this year. And sort of interesting that, hey, take more chances. Be aggressive. You've been in this system for a while now. You should know when you can cheat here or there. That's what Justin Reed and Tyrann Mathieu and some of those guys know about the system, is when you can sort of freelance here or there. And he even mentioned Chris Roland Wallace, that the interception in that read it a certain way, knew the route, but he also had to take a chance in heading over there before the ball was thrown. And he said, instinctually, he took a chance. Sometimes you got to do that to get those interceptions, and he took a chance. So seems like Dave Merritt's message to a couple of guys, especially Brian Cook, is be more aggressive in your courage and trust yourself, be confident, and take a chance if you have to. And he's been all over the place. So whatever it is that they told him to do, it's absolutely working.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, he has been this is what we thought he was going to be after his rookie year.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of safeties have this issue for KC. One, Thornhill, I think his best year was as a rookie. Again, injuries have...
Or second year.
So whatever it was. But injuries have happened with a lot of guys, and some just, you see a glimpse early on, and then it kind of fizzles out. But Brian, maybe the contract year's undefeated, but Brian Cook looks incredible right now.
Yeah, and hopefully that continues, because that helps a lot. And, you know, Shamari Connor played a little more safety. Well, it's interesting because they said Shamari played more safety in this one than he had, but if you go and look at the alignment, free safety, he lined up 9 times in the game. 9 times. But the previous 2 weeks, he had 13 snaps. as a free safety. This one lining up only 9 times at free safety, but then said, he's doing, maybe it's just he's doing more of that when Dave Merritt was talking about Connor. Maybe he meant doing more of that this year overall. And I took it as specifically in the Giants game that they're doing more of that without Justin Reed being there.
Sure.
He's playing both and playing down. But, thought that was, we'll see what Shamari Connor does and how they are going to spy Lamar Jackson. Let's take a time out. We'll come back, continue rolling. We'll talk a little bit about that, what we heard from Spags. Spy or no spy? That is really not the question because you're going to spy him. So we'll talk about that next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We will play some sports or leisure in the 1 o'clock hour. Shout out to Pizza 51.
Yeah, baby.
Dropped off some pie for us here. New spot opened up in Olathe, part of that revitalization project downtown Olathe over by Kansas Avenue. And that would be Santa Fe, just south, I think, of Santa Fe, over off of Kansas. And the OG spot right across from UMKC of Pizza 51. So now 2 locations there in downtown Olathe as well. So shout out Pizza 51, dropping off some pies. So
delicious.
Them.
It was
yes.
very good during the. I didn't have to talk because like Nagy and
right.
Spags
yeah.
and
they
all
were
those guys were talking,
for us.
so I could eat the pizza. It was lovely.
I appreciate them doing that. I forgot what I said I was going to talk about when we went to break because I was enjoying the pizza. So, I mean, I think it was something about Spags. Or something about defense, or was it offense?
Shamari Connor.
Is
we were
it
there.
Connor? We were talking about him
And how he...
Oh, spying. To spy or not to spy? That's the question. And he said...
Shakespeare said that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The sleep of sleeps, you know? And he said, you know, you have to mix and match with the spy because it can handcuff the pass rushers a little bit. I thought that was interesting. You have to have a more controlled rush, but you also don't want those guys to be passive. You got to stay aggressive. That is the spin cycle that Lamar can put you in that, well, I've got to be aggressive in my pass rush, but I've got to be controlled in my pass rush. But if I'm controlled in my pass rush and I lose aggressiveness and I'm more passive, well, now he's got time just to sit in the pocket and find an open receiver somewhere because covering that long is almost an impossibility in the NFL. But saying that if you spy, then that takes away from the pass rush, which I thought was interesting. I think, couldn't you spy while still having 4 guys rush the passer? Or if you're bringing a blitz, a blitz here or there, and have Leo Chanel maybe lined up as a defensive end, and you bring a blitz and Chanel drops back into being a spy. So now you're bringing pressure in different ways, but you still have a spy there. Pretty much what I'm saying is, Spags, let's meet. Let's talk. I got some ideas. I got some things. I don't know if you're aware of this, but interesting him saying you definitely have to mix and match because it can handcuff the pass rushers. But you're going to spy Lamar Jackson. You'd be a fool not to.
You'd be silly.
Yeah.
Again, I think there's options on this Chiefs team, too. It's not just a guy. You have multiple guys.
Yep.
And that way you can almost keep them guessing and keep them fresh because I can't imagine that's going to be a very... very fun job. I imagine that's a lot of mental and physical strain of just trying to mirror what he does with the athleticism and having to make sure you keep your angles correct while also always on your toes and never falling back on your heels while also wondering what's going on behind me.
Right. I'm intrigued by the idea of obvious passing situations. You have a pass rush specialist that can come in. I'm intrigued by the idea of obvious passing situations having a spy specialist in Jeffrey Bossa against Lamar and how fast he is and how quick he is. That it's like, do you want to put a linebacker to spy Lamar because of how fast he is, or you don't want to put a safety that's probably quicker than a linebacker? Well, I mean, one of the things Bossa is talked about is being a guy who is sort of a safety that is a linebacker, and how fast he is, how athletic he is. That seems to be the perfect guy, maybe year 2 or 3 in his career, as opposed to game number 4 in his career in the NFL and never having played against Lamar Jackson. Yeah. But that would seem to be the perfect guy as a spy specialist in obvious pass rushing and passing situations, that you bring him in to just be there and be an incredibly athletic guy as a linebacker instead of having, a Leo Chanel or Drew Tranquil on the field, or even a Nick Bolton on the field. Although that's not going to happen. You're not going to take him off.
Yeah.
So,
could be Shamari Connor too, because we know Shamari plays about 100% of snaps as well. So if you wanted to go lighter,
I don't trust Shamari Connor tackling anybody, let alone Lamar Jackson. And if it's like you got one-on-one Shamari Connor against Lamar Jackson in the open field, I have a feeling who's going to win that one. And especially if it's like, well, if he gets past him, there's a lot of green grass. Because credit to the Lions that some of those tackles they made on Lamar, it's like, well, if you didn't get him, he had some room to run if that guy didn't bring him down. And those are game changers. Like third and 8, and he's trying to juke a guy in the open field, and the guy trips him up, and it's a punt instead of juking the guy in the open field, and he picks up 15 more yards, and it's a fresh set of downs. Now you're keeping the ball a little bit longer. The Lions were able to do that. We're able to get him down. Not only just the 7 sacks, but his longest run of the game was 13 yards. Lamar's was. I mean, sign me up right now. If Lamar's longest
Would
run
you settle out of court?
I would settle out of court right now. If you're thirsty, I'd settle out of court right now for Lamar Jackson's longest run of the game on Sunday being 13 yards. Settle, especially on 3rd and 25. I'll take that if I had my choice. My druthers.
Your druthers.
If I had my druthers, and typically I don't have my druthers around. Other people have my druthers. If I had my druthers, I would say a 13-yard run on 3rd and 25. That would be great. But we'll see who's going to spy and things like that. So we'll find out all of those things. But, Dave Tobe talking about Harrison Butker. A lot of conversation about Harrison Butker. Last year in 2023, this is where it's such a stark contrast what we're seeing in these first 3 games compared to the last 2 years. Last 2 years, Harrison Butker has swung his foot through a football 129 times in 23 and 24. Extra points and field goals. He has made 121 of those 129.
Incredible.
He missed 8 times. This year, he has swung his foot through a football 14 times, and he has missed 4 of them already.
Not incredible.
So he's half of his misses through the first 3 games this year than he had in 23 and 24 combined in field goals and extra points. And in fact, he's already missed the same amount of extra points this year that he missed the last 2 years combined. 23 and 24, he missed 2 extra points combined. He's 3 of 5 this year on extra points. He's already missed 2. So, yeah, back to the drawing board, figuring out what is going on.
One of the ones that he made wasn't a hit off the crossbar and went in, or the goal on the right side, wasn't that?
Well, the long field goal was off the left, was a doink off the left upright.
Was that what it was? Was off the left one? Okay.
That was the long field goal.
Yeah,
against
the
54.
Yeah, whatever that was. Yeah, okay.
Yep, that one doinked in.
I was like, I'm pretty sure doinked.
But you're right. One of the missed extra points hit off the upright and missed.
Yeah.
On the right side. I think that's where Dave Merritt's talking about, or Dave Tobe is talking about. He doesn't miss right. And he's had a couple of those 4 misses miss right, especially that long kick that he missed incredibly right.
Yeah.
And then an extra point. Like, that's not something that he does. So, therefore, that is a contact with the ball issue with his foot. That's going back to finding small little adjustments and fundamentals in practice, and hopefully this starts the next stretch for Butker in having, 58 straight kicks made.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
That'd be lovely.
That'd be great. That'd be amazing if it was 58 straight kicks. Good God. Extra points and field goals. I would take that. But if this game is going to come down to a close game, a possession here or there, every single point is going to matter. We got Sports or Leisure coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Let's take a timeout and come back and play some Sports or Leisure on the other side of the break. More Zone next. All right, folks, it is your season. It's your time. It is DraftKings and the NFL season. It is in full swing, man. We're heading into week number 4, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scores to anytime touchdown props to the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. And if you are a new customer, well, this one is for you. Bet just $5, and you're going to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility restrictions apply on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issue and see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
Sports or leisure on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
All right, 913-381-0810 is the phone number to play a little sports or leisure. 913-381-0810, sports or leisure, first in, first on, $25 to Johnny's Tavern. We are playing for, you get a sports question, you get a leisure question, you get them both right, you win. Either of them wrong, you lose. But the question is out there available for someone to call in and request. If you know the answer to it, you helped out a little bit along the way. So there you go. That's how you play some sports or leisure on this Thursday edition of the show. Coming up tonight, Seahawks Cardinals in action for a little Thursday night football. That is coming your way. Sterling, you ready to go? You ready to play some sports or leisure today,
I
man?
am literally always ready for sports or leisure. I
Okay,
could do this on a
fantastic.
Monday after a Chiefs game. I'm kidding.
That's true. You could, though. But we could. We're not
could.
going to.
We're not going to, but we could.
But we could. Let's go through the categories here for sports or leisure. On the sports side, we have Royals questions. We have general NFL questions. And you know what? We have Ryder Cup questions. And we'll
Nice.
see if anybody, and I mean anybody, even asks for a Ryder Cup question. We'll find out. But those are the categories: Royals, general NFL, and Ryder's Cup.
That'd
Or
be funny. I
Ryder,
should have
whatever.
like a riding lawnmower question or something like that.
Ryder's Cups.
Name this Ryder lawnmower. Didn't have
John
that, though.
Deere.
Didn't think of that. Now that's mostly going to be John Deere. Yeah. No, we have riddles.
All right.
'Cause riddles is just the standard one now. Last week of WWE catchphrases, because if no one else picks any more of these, I'm done. They're being deleted. I'm annoyed with them that no one's
Okay.
picked them. I don't care. I'm not a WWE guy, but I tried to be nice for those that are, and
I tried to
everyone
be nice.
hates them.
I tried to be nice.
So last week having them on this because I don't want to see him on my screen anymore. And then we'll do a new one, which is name that NFL stadium/field.
Oh, well, no, I'll name that.
So, for example, it would be like, we're not doing Arrowhead, but an open-air stadium that was built in, what was it, 1972. I don't know. There's a lot of things I could do about it. It doesn't matter. Ring of Honor. Hey, that's Arrowhead, Sterling. But we're doing name that NFL stadium/field.
Okay, very good.
And it holds the record for loudest decibels. That would have been Arrowhead, but we
Oh.
didn't do it because we're not doing Arrowhead because that's too obvious.
Yeehaw, as Chris Jones would say.
Yeah.
That's how it's pronounced, right? As Chris Jones would ask. All right, 913-381-0810. I'm ready to play. Sterling, you good to go?
Sure.
Michael, you ready to play?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, let's go. Let's do it. We head to John, leading us off for a little sports or leisure presented by Johnny's Tavern. 10 area locations, including Lawrence and Topeka. $25 for Johnny's Tavern. John, what side would you like to start with, sir? The sports side or the leisure side?
Let's go stadiums and leisure.
Stadiums and leisure. First game was in 2001. The stadium has hosted 2 outdoor hockey games, the 2011 NHL Winter Classic and the 2017 NHL Stadium Series. 6 large Lombardi Trophy-shaped display cones were erected and contain artifacts from each championship. It sits along a river, which isn't a terrible view. And I can give a couple more things in a second, but that's the first stuff I'll give you.
On the river, let's see. I'm drawing, Yankee Stadium.
No, we're doing NFL only.
Oh.
NFL only, and they've won more than 6 championships. This team has won 6 Lombardis, so NFL only sits along a river, which isn't a terrible view. You're along the river, but you won't need a towel.
Heinz Field.
Heinz Field, yeah. Also, see, I knew I was going to give it away eventually. It's not a terrible view, but you won't need a towel. The terrible towels.
Oh, yeah.
And also, 12,000 tons of steel in construction was included because it's the Steel City. So there you go.
There you go.
Heinz Field, you nailed it.
Absolutely. All right, on to the sports side. We have Royals, we have General NFL, and we have Ryder Cup.
Would love a Royals question, Dan.
All right, Royals for you. Let's go with this one. Bobby Witt, now the youngest player in Royals history to reach 100 home runs in his career, not a single season. That would be a record. Which player did he pass for the youngest in Royals history?
Oh, good question.
Thanks.
If Mondesi gets there, he's still going to be the youngest
Thanks,
guy,
John.
I think.
Yeah, let's see.
Well,
I'm
Mondesi
thinking
probably
somebody. It's not Freddie. He didn't hit enough home runs. It could be Mayberry. My gut's Mayberry. I want to take a lot of time, so I will say John Mayberry.
It is not John Mayberry, John. But thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Oh, I think I know who it is.
Well, maybe you do, Sterling. But guess what? You're not a contestant here.
I wish I was because I think I know it.
Well, you know what?
Should I say it? Should I ruin your question?
Sure, if you want to waste your wish on that. I mean, you've got one wish, and that's your wish? I wish I were a contestant on Sports or Leisure. Well, you know what, Avery? Your wish has now come true.
I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. And I wish I had a girl.
Who looked good?
I would call her. I wish I had a rabbit and a bat.
And a hat.
And a 6'4" Impala. We did
That's
it,
right.
Jason. Look, we crossed hands.
Avery, Sports or Leisure. I wish we can go back in time and not do what we just did. What side do you want to start with, Avery? Sports side or the leisure side?
I'll do wrestling catchphrases.
Hey, we did it. Wrestling catchphrases. All right. This guy just yells yes the whole time. Yes, 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 yes. With the fingers up. If you can't get that one, I'll give you a different one because someone asked for it.
Someone asked for that?
No, but if you can't get it, like you actually asked for a catchphrase, so I gave you one. If you
Mhm.
don't know this one, I'll give you a different one.
Oh, sounds a different one?
Okay.
There you go.
And that's the bottom
Easy
line
enough.
because blank said so.
Stone Cold Steve Austin?
That is Stone Cold Steve Austin. He did say that.
Because The Rock.
I could have just tried to fool you.
You could have. You could have definitely tried to fool him. All right, on to the sports side, sir. Which category would you like?
I'll do the Royals.
All right, Royals for you. Do you want the one that's out there or a fresh one?
What was it? It was Bobby Witt got to a certain number of
100 home runs. He's the youngest player in Royals history to reach 100 career home runs. Who was the youngest player before Bobby Baseball?
I would think maybe Sal, but I don't know. I guess I'll take a different one.
All right, then let's go with this one. Bobby Witt pacing for 50 doubles this year. That would be tied for the second most doubles in a season in Royals history with 2 other players. But name either of the players with more
Al
than...
McRae?
Okay, sure. That's fine. That's an answer.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
That's right. That's what Avery just said. Hal McRae with 54 doubles. Alex Gordon and Billy Butler had 51. So there you go. Billy Butler, Alex Gordon, Hal McRae. Avery, we will put you on hold and get your information. Your wish has now come true.
Oh, thanks,
Congrats.
guys.
Yep, absolutely. Congrats on that one. $25 to Johnny's Tavern. Many people have wished it, but you can't just wish your way to a gift card. You got to actually
Wish
answer.
it, want it, do it.
That's right. That's what everybody says about the Johnny's Tavern gift cards. 913-381-0810. We go to Jerry next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jerry, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with?
So the stadium is on the leisure side?
Yes,
Correct.
it is.
Let me try that.
All righty, let's try it. This is located on approximately 22 acres of land. It seats 65,515 folk. The Wall Street Journal described the stadium deal as unusually lopsided in favor of the team and risky for taxpayers. You'll want to keep a note of that. The open corners allow for views into the stadium, while stadium fans can view the downtown skyline and the bridges crossing the river. The stadium is nicknamed The Jungle, and they always play Guns N' Roses' Welcome to the Jungle as their unofficial anthem.
Huh.
Think about it. Think about, one, the jungle, because I think that's going to be pretty helpful. And then also, that Wall Street Journal described the stadium deal as unusually lopsided in favor of the team and risky for taxpayers. It will make a lot of sense once you figure out who the team is. I don't need the stadium name. If you can just give me the team, and I'll take it, because a lot of them now have, been bought out.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the Giant Stadium?
No, think of the jungle. And then think of, again, a team that maybe is not known for being the most, the best for their fans, or even as the best owners for the team.
A team Jason hates.
What?
Darcy got it.
I guess all I'm thinking of is the Raiders.
No, it's not the Raiders.
I do hate that team,
Okay.
though. I mean, that is close. We're on the right track. Jerry, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. 913-381-0810 is the phone number. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back, continue playing some sports or leisure next.
At Adams Toyota Lease Summit, low prices and great selection have always been our way of doing business. Now, brand new 2026 Toyotas are on the way in, but there's still some 2025s with as low as 0% financing available for immediate delivery. Check out our website for details on all the interest rates and leasing specials on cars, sport utilities, and rugged trucks. Open 24 hours, 7 days a week at adamstoyota.com. Now's the time. You can't beat the prices, and the selection is great. Adams Toyota. Let's go places.
I'm standing outside the fire station with Brad McGee from LBA Home Services. Brad, what's going on?
The big doors are open. Take a close look inside.
Okay, what am I looking at?
The firefighters have their boots and gear ready to go.
In case there's an emergency.
LBA's work isn't as important as the fire department, but we have emergencies too.
What is an emergency for LBA's plumbers?
Poop on the floor.
I'm sorry, did you just say...
Poop on the floor.
Poop on the floor?
It isn't pretty, but it happens.
Poop on the floor.
If your main sewer drain gets clogged, anything that went down it can come back up, and that means
poop on the floor.
So when LBA gets a main drain call and you have
poop on the floor,
we respond right away. There's no time to waste when there's...
Seriously, we can't keep saying that.
If you can't even say it, imagine how fast you want us to get there. So call LBA if you ever have.
One simple idea, one name to remember.
Just remember
LBAservices.com.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Announcing Lee Summit Subaru's 0% event. Up to 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models for 72 months. And we have the largest selection of Subaru certified vehicles in Kansas City, starting as low as 1.9% for 72 months.
0% event and a lifetime warranty. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Based on January 2025 through June 2025 Kansas City inventory listings.
James Taylor here with La Bodega Restaurants. But let's get started. Let's start with your options: tapas, salads, paellas, and so much more. Perfect for office or even the last-minute family dinner plan to go. Or how about patio dining for happy hour or dinner? Maybe even an evening glass of wine or signature sangria. So just go to labodegakc.com and let's get started.
Now open for lunch.
Life is short, and if we spend...
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes and Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock, playing some sports or leisure. 913-381-810. Resetting the categories real quick as we're playing for Johnny's Tavern. $25 at Johnny's Tavern. We've got one Royals question left. We've got NFL questions and Ryder Cup questions. What about on the leisure side, Sterling?
Name that NFL stadium/field.
Okay.
We have riddles and WWE catchphrases.
Okay. There we go. We go to the phone lines, 913-381-810, and we bring in Cajun next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Cajun, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Oh, man. So we only got WWE, riddles, and what else?
Name that NFL stadium/field.
Okay. Well, I'll do the Bengals one.
Yeah.
Which one is that, Sterling?
That's the one that has, it's located on 22 acres.
Uh-huh.
No, but known as the Jungle. Welcome to the Jungle is the
I wonder
team's
why. Jungle
unofficial
cat, maybe
anthem.
a tiger, a Bengal tiger or something?
No idea. The Wall Street Journal
Uh-huh.
described the stadium deal as unusually lopsided in favor of the team and risky for taxpayers because we know the owner is very generous and has a lot of money.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And it's also, you can view the downtown skyline and the bridges crossing the Ohio River.
There you go.
Yeah, y'all ought to get rid of the WWE and make it that WWBSD.
I don't know about that, Cajun. I don't know that we're going to do that.
Cajun. I know all about big swinging doors.
That's right. Yes, it's just going to be categories about Brashard Smith. Everything, it's just going to be Brashard. What would Brashard Smith do is what obviously Cajun is talking about. On to the
all right. Instead of Denny, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're good, man. No, you're good.
Instead of Denny, I'd like to hear Rex Blunderdog do a Royals question.
All right. Hey, Cajun.
Come on, man.
Carter Jensen with his first 2 home runs of his career in the same game. The third player in the big leagues this year to have the first. I feel like I'm going into like Macho Man a little bit.
Yeah, it's
like I feel like I'm about to go.
Savage.
Oh yeah,
reset.
First 2 home runs of their career in the same game. Who are the other 2? So I don't know that I could do the Rex other than you gots to go. That's about it. But Carter Jensen, first 2 home runs of his career in the same game. Third player in the big leagues this year to have their first 2 home runs of their career in the same game. Do you know the other 2?
No, I don't.
Or either of the other 2? You don't have to.
One of them's is it Carter Jensen?
Well, Carter Jensen is the one that did that, but he's the third one to do it this year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Carter's the third one to do it, but you don't have to look much.
But the kid on our man, I don't know the guy's name on the. He's on the Royals.
Yeah, you don't have to look further, much further than his own clubhouse.
Brain fart.
Describe him.
Is he the catcher? Backup catcher?
No, that's Carter.
Take.
But describe the other man that's on the Royals that has done the 2 home runs, first 2 home runs in his career in the same game.
It's not Kag, is it?
I mean,
I don't know, man. To be honest with you, I think I know, but I can't think of his name.
Just throw a dart.
Kags.
Kags, it is. Nice job.
Oh, it is.
It is. It is
okay.
Kags. Oddly enough, the other one is John Rave. So all 3 are on the Royals this year that have done it. You were thinking of John. So you were trying to come up with the tougher one in John Rave because Kags did it.
I didn't think Kags had hit 2 in.
I think it's the Rangers, wasn't it?
Yeah, he hit his first 2 home runs came in the same game. John Rave's first 2 home runs came in his in one game, and Carter Jensen's first 2 home runs came in one game. So oddly enough, all 3 this year. So you nailed it, man. You got it right.
And I'm on a hot streak.
Hot streak. That's like 3 in a row. It's luck of the Irish. Only I don't know that you're Irish. I doubt it.
No French, bro.
I know. We'll put you on hold, Cage, and get your information. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. You enjoy the week, and it's going to be beautiful.
It should be awesome, man. Thank you, sir. You too. 913-381-810 is the phone number. Wish we had a baseball tournament this weekend. That's what I wish. That's my wish. I don't know why I wasted it on that because we have one like.
I wish I'll golf this weekend. Oh wait, I'll do it.
Oh, how about that? Yay! You get every wish you want. Let's go to the phone lines. Matt next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Matt, what side would you like to start with? Sports side or the leisure side?
Is the Bobby Witt question still out there?
With the 100 home runs.
Yes.
Yes, it is still out there. Yeah, we have not got an answer to that. I marked it off for some reason, but we did not get an answer yet. Bobby Witt, the youngest player in Royals history to reach 100 home runs. Who did he pass for the youngest in Royals history?
I think that was Carlos Beltran.
It was Carlos Beltran. He passed Carlos, one of the Dos Carloses, the better one, on to the Leisure with Sterling.
Yeah. I was surprised that was out there for as long as it was. I thought people would have snapped up that Beltran one. Good job. We have named that NFL stadium / field. We have WWE catchphrases, and we have riddles.
Let's go stadiums, please.
All right, stadiums. This stadium opened in 2016. It was the first fixed-roof stadium built in the NFL since Ford Field in Detroit, which had opened way back in 2002. Hosted Super Bowl 52 in 2023, and The Athletic ranked it as the top NFL venue. It's hosted a Final Four, and that was in, I think, 2019. But fixed-roof stadium, so not retractable.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to take a lot of stadiums out of the running.
Yeah.
Want to say, you said 2016?
Was when it was built. It hosted the Super Bowl 52.
What year was Super Bowl 52?
I don't want to say that.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be obvious, I think,
Okay.
if I say it. If I said the teams, it'd be obvious, too, because I think it's pretty.
Yeah.
And
I want to say that's the Viking Stadium, U.S. Bank?
Yeah, that's the Vikings. Yeah, it's the Viking Stadium. That was the Eagles when they won, and was it 2018?
Yeah.
Whatever that was. So, yeah, I thought it was surprising. I know it was the first fixed-roof stadium built since, at the time at least, since 2002. So,
yeah, that
pretty
is kinda
cool.
surprising, absolutely. I think that's a winner, right? Because he had Carlos Beltran?
Yeah.
Right? Matt, we'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, man. How about that?
Thanks, guys.
How about that? That's a couple winners in a row. We need to take another time out. Still catching up from the press conferences. We'll do that right now. Come back another segment of Sports or Leisure on the other side of the break. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. $25 to Johnny's Tavern on the line, playing a little sports or leisure, resetting the categories one more time. We are out of Royals questions and gone Royals questions. Boo. Royals questions? You gots to go. We have NFL questions, general, and we have Ryder Cup. You know what? What if I said we're all out of NFL questions just for S's and G's because I, came up with Ryder Cup questions? Anyway, we have NFL and Ryder Cup. What about leisure, Sterling?
We have named that NFL stadium/field.
Yeah,
we have riddles, and we have WWE catchphrases.
All right. We now have Tim next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB, a little sports or leisure. Tim, what side do you want to start with, bud?
Let's see. So, was it the NFL stadiums was on leisure?
It is leisure, yes.
I'm baffled on that one, but I'll take it.
There you go.
You're baffled. Well, maybe this doesn't baffle you. This stadium was opened in 2006. It's a multi-purpose, retractable roof stadium. It hosts not only an NFL team, but also the annual Fiesta Bowl. And, pretty famously, natural grass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
State Farm in Phoenix.
Yes.
Nice job.
It is,
How about
yeah.
that? You even got the name of the stadium,
Even got the
right?
name.
I would have
Nice.
just said that's where the Cardinals play.
Well, unfortunately, I had to watch something there the other day that sucked.
Oh, okay. All right, very good.
Yeah.
Watch there, like, in person?
No.
Okay. Very good. All right, on to the sports side. We have NFL questions and we have Ryder Cup questions.
So general NFL, that's pretty broad.
Yep.
No one's done Ryder Cup yet, have they?
Nobody has done Ryder Cup.
I guess I should probably do it then.
You know what? Thank you, Tim. All right. 1999 Ryder Cup, the Battle at Brookline. It is known as was the best comeback by any team in Ryder Cup until 2012 when the Europeans matched that. But the United States made a miraculous comeback on Sunday, and the putt on the 17th green essentially guaranteed the U.S.'s comeback victory, and it's famous because everybody stormed the green, family members, players, and Jose Maria Olazabal had not even attempted his putt yet.
Yeah, that was.
He could have still won the match. If he made his putt and won the next hole, the United States would not have won that match. Who sank the 45-foot putt?
1999.
Yep, maybe one of the most famous Ryder Cup scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're pissed because if it would have trampled his line, because back then they had metal spikes. It's not like the soft
through
spikes.
His line. I mean, they were all over the green.
Actually, I think they didn't run through his line. That was the misconception. Was they actually didn't?
Well, the problem was that was the final sort of straw of what the Europeans felt like was some a little too rowdy of American crowd.
USA. I hope they're rowdy this time around.
I do too, man.
Those Europeans
thought it got a little too rough.
What do you expect in Boston, man?
Well, that's
they
it.
should know
Right.
the history
100%.
of Boston.
100%. That's right.
Again, it's got to be. It's not the most obvious one of that era, is it? For crying out loud.
No, I mean, he was a good player. He was a younger player at the time. This wasn't a. Wait. Someone. It's the only thing I know him for. I know he's had other successes, but when I think of him,
Midwestern ties. Does this guy perhaps have some Midwestern ties, as in like his state of origin, not too far from the state?
This guy is from Dallas, Texas, and he went to the University of Texas. He's a Longhorn. This guy was.
Oh, okay. Not who I'm thinking of. Not the guy from Nebraska.
No.
Okay. Okay, so not that guy.
Yep, he's got one major victory.
Ben Crenshaw's way too old for them. That can't be.
This guy had one major victory and had a second place victory in a couple of other majors, but ended up as a one-time major winner a couple of years before he had that 1999 putt.
Oh, okay. So only a one-time major winner.
Yep. All right, gonna have to throw a dart.
Okay.
I don't even know how I would give hints
I'll go
with this one.
Davis Love. No, it's not Davis.
I mean, it's a player, so at least you threw a dart. But it is that is incorrect. Tim, I appreciate you playing. Hey, you know what? Thank you for actually asking for a Ryder Cup question. I thought that was it doesn't mean it's easy for everybody, because if you don't know the exact name, it may not be easy. It's just one of the most, when I think of Ryder Cup, it's what I think of. It's that image is the first thing that I think of, is that putt by said player on the 17th. Let's go back to the phone lines, and Brett next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Brett, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with?
What's up, guys?
What's up?
I was going to go Ryder Cup anyway. So if you want me to take that easy one, or if you want to give me a harder one, well,
that is totally up to you. You know what? I'll give you another one, and if you want to answer that one's perfectly fine. If not, you can take the one that's out there, just because maybe to challenge it. I've got so many that I probably won't carry them over next week. So I mean, I have no problem asking other ones. So we'll go with this one. Who's played in the most consecutive Ryder Cups? The record for the most consecutive Ryder Cups
is for either team.
Either team.
Oh wow! I thought you were maybe going to go with who has the most points, which is an interesting one.
I don't know.
Most consecutive. I might have to default back to your first question. Most consecutive. I mean, is it a Tiger type easy answer? I don't know.
I would say that it's that era. In fact, directly that era with around Tiger.
So it's either Tiger or Phil. So you're telling me maybe it's Tiger?
I don't think he's saying that.
I said it's around Tiger. I didn't say it was Tiger.
Okay, can I go with Justin Leonard on the putt? That one?
It was Justin Leonard that made the putt on the 17th hole in 1999 in the Ryder Cup. That is correct. And also, Brett, if anybody else wants a Ryder Cup, I think you led them to the answer to that one with the most consecutive Ryder Cups played. But on to leisure with Sterling is where you go.
On to leisure. What are you thinking here? We got Name That NFL Stadium. We have WWE catchphrases and riddles.
If you still got an NFL stadium one, let's rock that one.
All right, I am adding more, so yes, I do have one. Opened in 2020, it's a 10-level dome stadium featuring a ETFE roof. The north end zone is an area which has a bleep ton of retractable windows. It has a roll-in natural Bermuda grass field, very similar to the one that we just did before in Arizona.
They roll it in from Bermuda, too. That's what's crazy,
about it.
Yeah.
And if you can't get that, I'll give you one more hint that will definitely give it away.
Opened in 2020?
Yes.
With it's a retractable roof, so not like SoFi where it's open-ended? You said retractable?
It's a dome stadium with retractable windows, and it has a roll-in grass field, which is only, I believe, 2 rolling grass fields.
I know of one. I don't know the other one.
It's Arizona.
I didn't know that there were only 2. I know of the Arizona one, but I didn't know there were only 2.
No, there may be more, but I just know of Arizona, and this is a very famous one because when it first got built in 2020, and it's famous for a lot of reasons. I think that Chiefs fans would probably recognize why it's famous, too.
So is it Miami? Is it Hard Rock?
No.
No,
because it was open in 2020. They played down in Hard Rock in 2020.
So I was thinking either Miami or Atlanta, but I don't think Atlanta has to roll in.
Okay,
so.
hates this team.
I'll give you the last hint. I'll give you the last hint because it contains an 85-foot torch that houses a flame.
Mm-hmm.
An 85-foot torch that houses a flame.
There's only one stadium that has an 85-foot torch in one of the end zones, and that's where the retractable roofs are at, and it has that roll-in grass.
And the Chiefs also held a press conference saying that while we were there, we definitely looked around at this stadium to see some of the things that they had. And my beef, because they mentioned something specific, and my beef was, you didn't look up to see that there was a roof there? That would be the main thing, is that I would have noticed.
And there might be a Chiefs flag in the building, some say.
Some would say that.
When they built it.
Definitely a couple Chiefs victories there.
True. A couple big Chiefs victories.
Yeah,
a massive one.
Massive one, yeah. Even one where they were
they
were in the home locker room.
All right, it's Vegas.
Yeah.
It's Vegas.
It is Vegas. Nice job. Brett, we'll put you on hold to get your information. Congratulations, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. 913-381-0810. Let's try to get through these couple people that are on hold. Stank. Next up. Sports or Leisure, Stank?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Fantastic, man. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well. Thank you. How about sports?
All right, we got Ryder Cup and NFL. And an echo. Yeah.
I'll take that Ryder Cup question, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Who's played in the most consecutive Ryder Cups around the Tiger Woods era?
American, European?
American.
I'm going to go with old lefty, Phil Mickelson.
That is correct. It is Phil Mickelson. It is lefty. Over to Leisure.
I'm a lefty.
Yeah, there you go. So is Sterling.
We have Name That NFL Stadium Field. We have riddles, and we have WWE catchphrases.
I would go with the NFL stadium/field.
All right. This stadium hosts the Orange Bowl. It's an annual college football bowl game and the Miami Open tennis tournament. They have also had a temporary racing circuit used for Formula One's Grand Prix, and it will host multiple matches during the FIFA World Cup.
Do you know the answer, Stank? Is the phone line up, Michael? Yep. You can just hang up that phone. You don't need to talk to him for an hour. What's the answer?
Hard Rock Stadium.
Yes, it is.
Very good.
Nailed it.
All right, we'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone right after this. All right, wrapping things up here on this Thursday edition of the show. Tonight, some Thursday night football on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We've been tracking the injury issue that's been going on in Baltimore. We know that Nnamdi Madubuike is out this weekend. Van Noy went through some workouts on the side, but not practicing out on an adjacent field is where Kyle Van Noy, but he was not practicing today. Travis Jones, the defensive tackle, the run-stuffing nose tackle for the Ravens, was the one that I had more questions about returning because he left the game on Monday night, tried to return, and then left the game again and didn't finish. He missed practice yesterday, returned in practice today. Broderick Washington played the entire game, didn't practice again today. So it's back-to-back DNPs for Broderick Washington. Ronnie Stanley didn't practice yesterday, but I thought that might have been rest. He did not practice again today. So it's now back-to-back games that Ronnie Stanley did not practice. Patrick Ricard, again, not practicing. He missed Monday's game with a calf injury. He has not returned to practice. So that is Nnamdi Madubuike out, Van Noy not practicing, Broderick Washington not practicing. That's 3 of the 4 starting defensive linemen. Ricard not practicing, their fullback. And back-to-back days that Ronnie Stanley, listed with an ankle, has not practiced. Could return to practice tomorrow, be ready to go on Sunday because it's a short week, just giving him some rest.
Sure.
Chiefs
but not
did that
known
with Snead.
as the pinnacle of health.
Yeah, Chiefs did that with Snead, right?
True.
He'd sit out with a knee injury. This is an ankle. But you're right. Stanley is a guy that has battled injuries throughout his career. So
Seahawks tonight, Cardinals tonight. Who you going with?
I'm going to go with Seattle in this one.
Oh, bird up.
Yeah, I'm going with
I'm going to give you the bird. Go Cardinals.
Don't give me the bird.
I'm doubling down. 2 birds.
Ooh, okay.
2 Cardinals.
2 birds, 1 stone, you know?
Give me the Cardinals.
Okay.
You know what?
Great.
All the talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. struggling.
Yeah.
Give me the over on him tonight.
Okay,
I like a little bounce back spot now.
Okay, all right. Get the over on that one. We'll see. JSN's been a monster so far this year. We'll find out. The program coming up next.